From deep in the heart of Dixie, Chipper Jones, whose torrid start has led the Braves to the best home record in the National League, welcome in the New York Mets, a team clouded in controversy. Wednesday Night Baseball is next from Atlanta. Beautiful May evening in Atlanta. It's Wednesday Night Baseball presented by Goodyear. And tonight, the Major's only 400 hitter Chipper Jones faces a Mets franchise he has given nothing but headaches for 14 years. The Mets have been a giant headache to themselves lately with player and manager problems and underperformance on the field. They are riding choppy seas here on May 21. Welcome to Atlanta, everybody. Great to have you. I'm Dave O'Brien. Aaron Andrews joining us in just a moment. We have been waiting since opening day, however, to say this. Rick Sutcliffe, welcome back to the booth, my friend. We have missed you tremendously.
Well, I tell you what, it is great to be back. I got to be honest with you. I'm a little bit nervous. I appreciate all the prayers. I was told to stay positive, to set goals, and honestly, one of those goals was to come back before my surgery. And Obi, it's great to be back with you and Aaron.
Well, it's great to have you, but you have stepped right into the middle of this controversy, a daily controversy for the New York Mets. One day it's one thing, the next day it's something else. Let's get to the timeline. This is just over the last week. On Friday, they hold a closed-door meeting. Saturday and Sunday, rebound to beat the Yankees twice. On Monday, though, Willie Randolph raising the race issue, implying he's being treated differently because he is a black manager. On Tuesday, he withdraws those comments. Today, Willie Randolph issuing a formal and rather emotional apology. But Rick Sutcliffe, you were in his office in the hours before the game. What is Willie Randolph's state of mind tonight?
Well, I honestly think, first of all, he's embarrassed. He told me that before the game he was going to apologize. He wanted to get the focus back on his team. This is a team with high expectations. 2 years ago, they won 97 games. They added Johan Santana over the winter. They had hoped to be better than they are right now. Right now, they're one game over 500. That's not good enough for the New York Mets.
Expectations sky high for them to win the division. As we bring in Aaron Andrews. Aaron, Billy Wagner, their closer, was right in the middle of his own controversy, right in the middle of all that, kind of implying a couple of his teammates were not stand-up guys when things weren't going well. What does Billy the Kid have to say as of tonight?
Well, Billy Wagner said, despite what people are saying outside the clubhouse, inside they're not divided and they do get along. And, you know, they had that closed-door meeting on Friday, and Billy Wagner said they were able to clear up some issues and everyone is on the same page. It's a different story on the field, OB. Wagner said simply this team is stuck in the middle. They're searching for an identity, and at this point, they don't know which way it's going to end up. He said at the end, we are simply looking for a few breaks.
Aaron, thank you very much. They're not going to get a break facing Chipper Jones. They never do. They're the Mets, and he's Chipper Jones, but .409 his batting average coming into tonight. How do they get him out?
Well, you know, they say that nothing changes as far as Chipper Jones is concerned, and like you said, they're never going to catch a break. Chipper says, I've got the same body, I'm the same guy. Manager Bobby Cox says it's the same swing that he saw when he scouted him in high school. But how is a guy that's a .307 career hitter all of a sudden in his 14th year in the big leagues hitting .409 coming into play tonight? Chipper Jones said it's real simple. He said, Sut, I'm smarter. If there's a guy like Jake Peavy or Santana on the mound, they dictate the action. I'll take a walk, maybe a ground ball up the middle for a base hit. But when there's somebody on the mound that I can handle, I'm not worried about being overpowered. He said that's when I can dictate the action now. He might have one of those guys on the mound tonight.
Well, a lot to talk about tonight. Aaron will have our big league moment with Brian McCann and his MLB breakthrough. Sutton will tell us about the Braves' Yunel Escobar and Kelly Johnson, how they contribute to winning baseball. We'll also update Johnson action around the league, including Bartolo Colon's Red Sox debut against the Royals. And the division-leading White Sox square off against the Tribe. But next, David Wright and the Mets take on Chipper Jones and the Braves on Wednesday Night Baseball.
Just like the rest of the starting pitchers for this Rangers, he had a streak of 9 starts when he had 6.
A sensational night for baseball here in Atlanta, Georgia, and so happy you've chosen to join us. Hey, look at that. Willie Randolph with a big smile on his face. Over the last 48 hours, that hasn't happened very much.
I think he feels like a lot of pressure came off of his shoulders, and now it's up to his team to react to that.
Well, very choppy seas as mentioned, but his team did win the flag in 2006. So look at his starting lineup. Brought to you by Pizza Hut. At the top is Jose Reyes. Andy Chavez is in right field. David Wright has hit eight home runs coming into tonight.
OB, as Kenny Chesney's song goes, don't blink. He was hitting 260 about 10 days ago. It's up to 283 going into play tonight, and as always, with a lot of RBIs for David Wright.
Jair Jurgens is going to be his opponent tonight. The right-hander about to take to the hill. He is 4-3 with an ERA of 2.82. And Suddy's done a great job of keeping the ball in the ballpark. In particular, he's only allowed one home run.
Well, and he's really done a terrific job pitching here at home. He is 5-0 in his career at home. He's 3-0 this year in this ballpark. You look at the scouting report on him. How does he have that success? He pitches to contact. The ground ball percentage is way up. And the key, talking to catcher Brian Snyder before the game about Jurgens, he has to repeat his delivery on the changeup so that it looks like that of his fastball. He's very good at doing that.
22-year-old out of Curacao, going through his initial warm-up tosses here. And on top of the clubhouse and managerial controversy surrounding the Mets, New York lost both games of yesterday's doubleheader. Look at Atlanta defensively now. Teixeira has won a couple of Gold Gloves at first base. Francoeur won his first last year.
Take a look at that. 48 outfield assists since his debut. 19 of those last year. And OB, 12 of those outfield assists came at home plate. So you talk about production by deduction. Those should be RBIs for Frenchie.
And of course, the New York Mets last year with that terrible finish to the season, as they led by 7 games on September 14th and would lose the division to the Philadelphia Phillies. They've never really rebounded from that, it appears.
You know what, Obi? I even think sometimes it goes back further than that. They were a huge favorite to beat the Cardinals in the National League Championship Series, and they didn't get it done. They were a huge favorite last year to win the NL East. Adding Santana, they're even a bigger favorite right now. I think that's where part of the frustration has come with Willie Randolph, and also taking a look at Beltran as we see him there struggling, and more than any guy, the guy that's a key to them coming back is standing at home plate right now.
Jose Reyes, the speedy shortstop, hitting .272 with 4 homers. His steals are way down. He was 3 for 8 in the doubleheader on Tuesday, but it's been a subpar season for him. Jurgens' first pitch is in there for a strike, and we are underway. That's James Hoy behind home plate tonight. You know, at this rate, Jose Reyes won't even steal 50 bases after stealing 78 last year. Just a dozen steals to this point as he knocks it the other way for a base hit. And a good start for the Mets, a team that desperately needs a good start. So Reyes is aboard against 78 thefts to lead the majors last year. And he's done that 3 years in a row, leading the National League in that category.
You know, B, I think there's a guy that they've missed more than anybody else, in particular Reyes, has missed that man, Moses Alou, in their clubhouse. He's kind of the glue, and he's done it in the past, OB, that brings a clubhouse that can be divided together. He gets people to go out to dinner, and, you know, he'll put his arm around Reyes when he needs to.
Reyes not running as Chavez steps in, the right fielder, hitting just .170. No home runs, nobody driven in at this point. The regular right fielder, Ryan Church, took a knee to the head in a doubleheader yesterday, suffered a mild concussion. David Wright, the on-deck hitter. Church with 9 homers. It's had a big RBI impact on their lineup as well.
He took himself out of the lineup tonight. I mean, I don't know what he was thinking trying to break that double play up like he did. It could have been a lot worse for him.
Reyes will dive back in. I mentioned the Mets having their issues. They are 1 game over 500. They're in 4th place in the National League East, but just 2.5 games out of 1st place. So that's the other way that Willie Randolph and company can look at it. The bunt attempt fouled away by Chavez. Florida Marlins leading Atlanta and Philadelphia by 1.5 games. Reyes has yet to even attempt to steal here against Jurgens and McCann.
I think you got to give Jurgens a lot of credit for that. He's buried his delivery to home. He's thrown strikes on consecutive pitches. He's thrown over. There was just absolutely nothing Reyes could do up to this point. There it is again. And what he's doing, he's just giving McCann an opportunity to throw him out. They've got to play. The Braves have had it for a long time where you call a fastball away, and if the first baseman hollers, there he goes, as a pitcher, you just leave it up and away, kind of like a pitch out.
He's holding again, and this one is popped up into left field. Gregor Blanco in to make the catch for the out, and Chavez is retired, one away in front of David Wright, who we highlighted. Well, talking about the lineups, Wright overall at 281 with 8 homers. He's driven in 34 runs. He is 5th in the National League in runs batted in. He's having a good road trip as well.
Well, now if you're Jurgens, you can't pay as much attention to Reyes as you did to begin with there with Chavez. You got a better hitter at home plate. Plus, OB, even if he steals second now, they've still got to get a base hit to drive him in. If he was able to steal second with nobody out and then Chavez gets him over, you could have manufactured a run. They can't do that now.
So do they concede the stolen base? He's not running. Wright checks, and it's across for a strike. You talk about the energy, the electricity that Reyes is capable of generating, and it hasn't been since the midway point of last season. His numbers really declined after the All-Star break.
You know, it is scary, OB, when you look at it. They were talking about him in spring training last year and even at the All-Star break as an MVP. He's basically hit around 250 since the All-Star break. That's almost a year now.
Now Reyes takes off, cut on and missed. The throw down by McCann, not in time. He can't get him. That is 13 stolen bases for Jose Reyes into scoring position now.
Not a problem. Bobby Cox, even on his birthday today, not real worried about that stolen base. Jurgens did what he had to do. He kept him there to get the first out. His focus has got to be on David Wright. You make a mistake to this guy, it's 2-0 instead of just worried about it being 1-0.
So you're right. Happy 67th birthday today to Bobby Cox, the venerable skipper of the Atlanta Braves. He is 16-6 managing on his birthday, by the way. He's won more times on his birthday than any major league manager in history.
You know what? I saw a number earlier, too, on Chipper Jones. I know his birthday, as we look at Bobby Cox, 67 years old today, as good a manager as there is in baseball. Chipper's like 8-1 on his birthday, which is on the 24th of April. So if you're playing the Braves, man, check the calendar. Stay away from those birthdays.
You pitch very often on your birthday?
I don't remember. Maybe. You would hope you did well.
What you're saying is the record wasn't very good.
Probably
on
not.
Your birthday.
I would say you're right.
You weren't that effective on the big day. That one hit on a line, caught out of the air by Johnson, dives in, can't get Reyes for the double play. Out number 2, and almost turned it into an inning-ending double play.
Well, you talked about Church not being in the lineup. The other guy that's not in the lineup is the shortstop, Escobar, that he collided with. And the timing on this play right here might have had something to do with that. If Escobar is at shortstop, he might have gotten there in time where Johnson could have flipped it and ended the inning.
The Jurgens is certainly not rattled by having Reyes on base so quickly, and then the stolen base. He has thrown 8 consecutive strikes. And of course he naturally misses right there.
You got him.
This is last night. A collision we were talking about, Church and Escobar, and they both got hurt on.
What was he doing still up? I mean, a lot of the guys on the Braves were really upset about that, and I know Church took the worst of it, but he should have been down long before that contact was made.
Suffered a mild concussion, pulled to first base, and Teixeira will do it himself. So Jurgens gives up a base hit to the speed merchant Reyes, but nothing comes of that. He's getting it going early, and Atlanta coming up at home.
It's time to discover the Hyundai Advantage with 3 sedans that get more than 30 miles per gallon. You'll add up your savings at the pump. 33 MPG Hyundai Accent, 33 MPG Elantra, and the 31 MPG Sonata. Elantra's a top pick by the Top Consumer magazine. Sonata is the class leader in standard features. Plus, every Hyundai is backed by America's best warranty. Plus, buy any Hyundai sedan and get up to $3,000 cash back. Hurry to your Pacific Northwest Hyundai dealers, because it all adds up to the Hyundai Advantage.
Qwest has introduced a new internet, TV, and phone service plan. The new plan offers customers a slower internet connection as well as TV that comes with an ugly satellite dish that can fail during bad weather. making Quest the perfect gift for anyone with low expectations, like my Uncle Jimmy or my dog, Eagle.
The Indianapolis 500. Coverage begins Sunday at noon Eastern on ABC.
The NASCAR Nationwide Series on ESPN2. Dale Jr., Jimmy Johnson, and a star-studded field trade paint under the lights at Charlotte. The NASCAR Nationwide Series, Saturday night at 7 on ESPN2.
Sunny and 74 here in Atlanta. Wednesday Night Baseball presented by Goodyear. Rick Sutcliffe, Dave O'Brien, and Aaron Andrews with you. A little chilly for Bobby Cox at the moment as the sun begins to set. You look at that split between home and road. That's a tough one for Bobby to figure out, but they are two different teams, aren't they? As we take a look at his starting lineup tonight, it's presented by Pizza Hut. Omar Infante, Mark Kotze, and then Chipper Jones, the top hitter in baseball.
Really remarkable. At 36 years of age, a lot of guys start to fade, but it seems like Chipper's catching his second win.
He'll be squaring off against the right-hander Mike Pelfrey, 2-4 with a 4.17 ERA and a hard thrower.
He really is, and he got off to a good start. He won his first 2 ball games, but if you look at his record, you can tell he's lost his last 4 decisions. He's got to get outs with his fastball, and he's in particular got to locate that fastball on the first base side of the plate with all of the power left-handers the Braves have tonight.
Omar Infante, who to this point in his career had been a Detroit Tiger, digging in at 308, no homers, a couple of runs batted in. The Braves just swept a doubleheader from the Mets yesterday. They have one more with New York tomorrow night, and then won't see the Mets again for 3 months until August 19th. You wonder how the National League East will be changing between now and then. Both of these teams in the middle of the pack as that one is up high for a ball on Infante. Pelfrey was terrific in his last outing. He took a no-hitter into the 7th inning before allowing a leadoff single against the Washington Nationals, but he would later allow a run in the 8th inning and lose. That one hit toward the alley. Beltran on the move. He will make the catch. Infante is retired. Well, you saw Carlos Beltran in center field. He's very good out there defensively around Pelfrey. Wright's won a Gold Glove. Castillo has won 3. Beltran a pair.
They're pretty decent defensively. You take a look at the 2 Gold Gloves he's won the last 2 years. Not only the best defensive center fielder in the National League, but he also the last 2 years has won the Silver Bat. So the complete package with Beltran.
Pelfrey to take on a left-handed hitter who are really giving him a lot of trouble. Lefties batting .386 against him this season. The highest average by lefties against any National League pitcher.
Well, that's what Brian Snyder was saying before the game is the key. He's got to get out with his fastball. And that's the spot right there. He said he throws so hard. 95 miles an hour on that last pitch. He doesn't have to locate, but it has to be inner half. If he can do that, those numbers with left-handed hitters will go down.
The 0-2 to Kotze is inside. Mark at 303, 4 homers. He did hit one last night as part of the doubleheader.
You know, a lot of people would think the Braves are really missing Andrew Jones. I didn't hear that once in the clubhouse, and a lot of that goes to how well Mark Kotze has played because Mark Kotze is healthy again.
He's had a much better time in Atlanta than Andrew certainly has had in Los Angeles. Back to the home run swing last night.
Well, Bobby Cox was kind of tickled at that because Kotze only got into the game as a defensive replacement, but all of a sudden his turn came up to swing the bat and he goes deep.
The 2-2 sliced foul back to the screen. Andrew Jones, by the way, with a dismal year he's had so far for the Dodgers. He's had knee problems lately. His video image was actually booed at Dodger Stadium on Mother's Day when Andrew sent a taped message to his mom, and the Dodger fans booed him as that one is slap foul.
You know, I was reading too that possibly surgery for Andrew Jones on that knee you were talking about.
And he's trying to avoid it. Bases empty, 1 man out. Chipper Jones on deck, who has just been a fixture in Bobby Cox's nightmares, I should say, for the Mets. This one popped up into left field. And Reyes is going to back out to make the catch. He gets there for out number 2. And really Randolph's nightmares, and every Met manager who has occupied that seat, Chipper Jones, has just been such a tough out over the years. 328 lifetime against New York, but against everybody this year, he has been the toughest out there is in the National League. 409, 11 homers, 33 runs batted in. The second highest average for any major league player in the last 25 years at the 45 game mark. And so good he's been.
Those 3 pitchers that he had in his rotation for all those years, Maddox, Glavine, and Smoltz, going to the Hall of Fame, they're going to be taking their buddy with them. I think Chipper Jones is a lot like Tom Glavine, where, you know, 04 and 05, he didn't hit 300. Glavine had a losing record. Well, they have picked it up since then.
The fastball missing downstairs, and the count goes to 3-0. Chipper an MVP 9 years ago. He's now 36. Some will tell you he's the favorite to win it again this year, although probably far too early to be having that talk. He takes that one inside and got nothing to swing at. He takes ball 4. M.Teixeira on the way up next. 397 home runs, 3rd all-time for a switch hitter. The all-time leader for the Braves in homers, RBIs, runs, hits, right on down the line. Teixeira here at 264 with 5 home runs. He's driven in 23. Also a very talented switch hitter. He swings. It's a high fly ball driven deep into right center field. This one way back. Chavez on the track. He reaches up and makes a nice running catch and then thuds into the fence. Teixeira really sent that one for a ride, but left it just a little short. Otherwise a 2-run homer.
This caramel mocha Java chiller is so good.
I love this mocha Java chiller. I don't know why, I just feel a little like, ah.
I actually think it's a shot of real espresso in there.
What?
Yeah, these have shots of real espresso.
No, they don't. Look, it looks like a shake.
Yeah, it's caffeine.
I didn't even notice.
Well, I do.
Java Chillers at Sonic. A shot of premium roast espresso and vanilla soft serve blended into an indulgent frozen treat. Grab one tonight because Sonic's open till midnight or later and is even sweeter after dark.
At Mike's Hard Lemonade, we have lots of good ideas, like coming up with the perfect combination of lemonade and alcohol. Or Mike's Hard Light Lemonade. Or, check this out, Mike's Hard Double Caffeinated Soy Lemonade.
Joey, what you got there?
The little idea I came up with is...
We don't do soy, okay?
We don't do soy.
In a world gone soft, someone's got to be hard. Mike's Hard Lemonade.
The world calls us small business owners.
But really, there's nothing small about us.
We have big ideas. We see huge potential. We have enormous dedication.
We have larger-than-life expectations, which is why
we and millions of others use Visa Business.
Because we do business with the great big world. And no other card.
No other card.
And no other card
is more accepted by it.
Visa Business, used for big ideas. Visit visa.com/smallbusiness.
No score after 1. On to the second inning here in Atlanta, and Sunday Night Baseball presented by Taco Bell coming your way on ESPN at 8 o'clock Eastern from the Windy City. It's the Angels of Anaheim taking on the Chicago White Sox. Coverage begins with baseball tonight, driven by Chevy at 7 o'clock Eastern time. Moises Alou to lead things off against Jurgens here. He checks on the first one. Did he offer? He did, according to Jerry Meals. That is strike one. And Sutton, you talked about the influence that Moises Alou has been around for so long, the influence positively that he has inside a clubhouse.
Just impossible to replace. The respect that the younger players have for him, how he's able to communicate with the veteran players. And it's just all about him being around. That's a difficult clubhouse, OB. I mean, you look here. I mean, you go into the Braves clubhouse and everybody loves each other. You go into the Mets clubhouse and there's a gap. There's people that are separated. And Moises is the guy that brings it together.
Chipper Jones with the pick, swings it over for the out, but Moises Alou will be 42 years old, Aaron Andrews, coming up in July.
I knew I missed Rick Sutcliffe. What a great segue. That's exactly what I was going to talk about. The fact I asked Moises about this, and, you know, there is the perception that the Mets clubhouse is divided. And he said, I've been on 7 teams, and 6 out of the 7 teams that I've been on, you know, there is a little bit of a division there. But he said, you know, the one team that wasn't, and we all went out to dinner together, and we all hung out together. Dave O'Brien, you know about this team, the 97 Marlins. He said we were just so united as a group.
He really did have a big effect on that team, and the fact that obviously he can speak 2 languages and connect 2 sides of a clubhouse. He wasn't alone on that team in that regard, but he was probably the #1 reason.
You know, another thing too is Aaron talked about 7 different teams. He's been an all-star on 5 different teams. He's a pretty good player, and that's a big bat to have back in that lineup.
Carlos Delgado hitting just .222 with 5 homers and 19 runs batted in. Just 3 out of 14 on this road trip. The injuries and age have certainly played a part in Delgado's production. He'll be 36 in June. But there's no denying he's been in decline the last couple of seasons after belting 38 homers for the Mets in '06.
Well, and OB, he's got to hit. You know, he's never been even average defensively. You look at the Braves, and they've got Teixeira. I mean, he's going to help you with the glove down there. He's won Gold Gloves. He's going to win more. Delgado's got to hit. And when he doesn't swing the bat, he doesn't drive in runs. I mean, that's a huge disadvantage for this team when you look at how balanced the division is. I mean, anybody can win the National League East. I think right now that's the only division in baseball you can say that about.
Of course, Delgado even lost a home run on Sunday when the umpires made the wrong call at Yankee Stadium. He takes ball 4. So Carlos Delgado is on. Let's go to John Saunders now in the studio for Sports Center right now.
Well, Dave, Manchester United beat Chelsea 6-5 in a penalty shootout to win the European Champions League title Wednesday night following a 1-1 tie. First final between the 2 English teams, and Manchester United wins its 3rd Champions League title. Jason Taylor and the feud with Bill Parcells continued, making it look like a 6-time Pro Bowl defensive end has played his last game for the Dolphins. Back to you.
All right, John, thank you very much. Big win in Moscow there for Manchester United. Carlos Delgado at first base, and Brian Schneider, the catcher, in the box, hitting .295 with 2 homers. He's had a cool road trip for the Mets, 1 for 10. He looks at a ball outside. So you're very impressed with this guy, and he has been one of the best throwing and defensive catchers in the game for about 6 or 7 years.
Yeah, and nobody really ever knew that. I was joking with him before the game tonight. If it weren't for the World Baseball Classic, I might have never met Brian Schneider. All of a sudden now he's traded to a team that has a chance to win, and you know, he finds himself still handling the staff well. He throws well. He's a good teammate, and all of a sudden, OB, this year he's swinging the bat a little bit.
Hitting near 300. This just turned out to be an excellent trade for the New York Mets. They got Schneider and Ryan Church in the Lastings millage deal of last November. Soft bounding ball to the right side and right through Johnson. He got screened there by Delgado. He's going to roll into right field. Schneider is into second. So the Mets have runners at second and third. And a mistake by Johnson, the second baseman.
That's a guy right there that's still learning to play this position. You have to remember, you have to make sure of one. Plenty of time right there to secure the baseball. Forget about the runner. You've got to get the baseball first. And Johnson there tried to stay in front of Delgado. Delgado does a great job there trying to distract the young infielder. And because of it, all of a sudden a chance now for the Mets to pick up 2 gift runs.
So it's an E4, 2 men in scoring position for Castillo. Luis Castillo, the veteran second baseman, hitting .263, a homer, 11 runs batted in. Johnson, by the way, has made 6 errors. For a second baseman to this point in the season, that's high.
You know, he was a converted outfielder. He had the Tommy John surgery on his arm. He's learning to play that position.
Flick foul by Castillo. Does a great job of spoiling good pitches.
Well, boy, you got to know where you're at in the lineup. You've got the 8th guy coming up. If you just get the force play at second, even if you get the force play at first, Castillo's not going to drive in many runs. You got the pitcher in the on-deck circle. No reason for young Jurgens to be in this jam right now.
Castillo now 32 years old, 3-time Gold Glover. He takes a strike and the count. 1 ball and 2 strikes. When he and Reyes really get rolling, it's a dynamic double play combination. Castillo and Reyes.
It's electric. I mean, it's fun to watch.
Luis, the 3-time National League All-Star, made those appearances with the Florida Marlins. Usually a good contact hitter, but not here. Down he goes. Back to your point as far as Jurgens is concerned, but he gets a big K, his first of the ball game.
How about the poise and the confidence that you're seeing right here with this 22-year-old on the mound? His back's against the wall. The infield was back. If you make contact, you pick up an RBI. He uses that deception. He repeats the delivery with the changeup for strike 2 and the 94-mile-an-hour fastball for strike 3.
So now he gets the pitcher in Pelfrey. The right-hander's first one is fouled away into the Atlanta dugout for strike 1. As mentioned, Jurgens from the island of Curacao, just north of South America in the Dutch Caribbean, about 2.5 hours from Miami by air.
I hear it's a beautiful island.
Of course, the home of Andrew Jones as well. Pelfrey without a hit on the season because of swings like that. Taps it foul and the count is 0-2.
One thing I've noticed in Jurgens, watching the last 4 starts for him, he very seldom, I mean, he won't throw 10 breaking balls in the first 100 pitches that he throws in a game. He's got a good slider. I mean, you got a guy up here now that would chase if you wanted.
0-2 pitch, little tapper off the glove of the pitcher. Here's Infante. Very smoothly done. That was on the breaking ball. And he gets out of the inning. When we come back, the big league moment of Brian McCann, the outstanding 2-time All-Star catcher of the Braves.
Ciroc, Ultra Premium Vodka. Drink responsibly.
What your engine feels, you feel. And when it's running clean, you feel it. That's why Pennzoil Motor Oil is specially formulated to continuously help prevent dirt and deposits from forming. No leading conventional oil helps keep engines cleaner. So change with Pennzoil and feel the clean. Not just oil, Pennzoil. And now a 5-quart jug is only $10 for a limited time at Walmart.
If you set out to deliberately exterminate mankind, you couldn't do better than Andromeda.
The hamburgers at some places go right from the grill to the... Ew. But Wendy's hot and juicy hamburgers go straight from the grill to the bun to you. It's way better than fast food. It's Wendy's.
It's been an industry leader for generations. Born of a rich performance heritage. Equipped with breakthrough safety features. And wrapped in a classic, timeless look. We believe great cars take a vision not everyone shares. See your authorized Mercedes-Benz dealer for special offers through Mercedes-Benz Financial.
We are scoreless here at Turner Field, and of course, welcome back. Well, Georgia native and Braves catcher Brian McCann, he didn't make his big league debut here at Turner Field. It was actually in Oakland back on June 10th, 2005. That's where he got his very first hit off Dan Heron. And then the next day, June 11th, he caught John Smoltz in a complete game. And great stuff from this story, Opie and Suddy. You know, Brian McCann said this was a dream come true as you look at him catching John Smoltz here. After he got his first hit, Eddie Perez wrote on a fake ball, "You're not as good as J.Francoeur." Well, J.Francoeur, of course, Brian McCann's best friend, he was in the minors at the time. Brian McCann thought that was the real ball. It didn't turn out to be. That next day when he caught John Smoltz in the complete game, we asked him, how many times did he shake you off? He said Smoltz probably had a really sore neck, maybe even needed a brace.
So a lot, in other words. Kept the kid in line. He's no rookie anymore. 321, 8 homers, 29 runs batted in, twice an all-star. Got a hot bat lately, sitting 407 in his last 14 games.
That is great stuff. Take a look at this. This is a changeup away that would have been a ball that ended up being a souvenir to dead center field. Yeah, I'd say he's swinging the bat with a little bit more authority.
It's 50 hits. That's more than any catcher in the game right now as he looks at the strike.
You know, Obi, I think more impressive than that, Aaron and I were talking before the game about it. This guy is getting a lot of comparisons to Jason Varitek. I think all things considered, we've talked about it for 3 or 4 years. Varitek is the best catcher in all of baseball.
I think he just proved that again. Catching John Lester's
another no-hitter, and just everything that goes into that. You hear Beckett talking the postseason. His key is not shaking Varitek off. Well, that's the same thing they say here in Atlanta about McCann. I mean, just the way he handles the staff, and also, you know, he can produce with the bat in his hands. It's quite a compliment.
Francoeur on deck, and then Kelly Johnson, Atlanta, trying to get on the scoreboard here in the second inning. Fly to center field. Beltran will come in on this one. And a routine fly for out number 1. Hard to believe, Rick Sutcliffe, that after everything you have gone through, your battle with cancer and chemotherapy and radiation treatments, and I know surgery is still to come, that you look this good. How did you pull that off? You look like $1 million. What are you taking?
I don't know. They were teasing John Smoltz before the game that he's the one that went through chemo because of his
hair is starting to move backwards.
I don't know. I just feel so blessed to be here, man.
Great to have you back, partner. We've missed you. Your stand-ins have done some wonderful work for us.
Oh, I appreciate so much everybody going out of their way. You know, I mean, sitting there at home on the couch with your chemo bag on your side, and you've been at radiation earlier in the day, and you know, you and Joe Morgan saying you're just keeping the chair warm. I'm telling you, Obi, that stuff goes a long way as far as recovery is concerned.
Steve Phillips, Earl Hershiser, Buck Showalter, along with Joe, all stepping in for you, and delighted to have them, but it's wonderful to have you back.
Well, that possession arrow is pointing at me, and as soon as I get the surgery over with, when those guys need a pick-me-up, I'll be there.
Francoeur just 1 out of 8 in his career against Pelfrey. Overall, he's hitting at 258. That one ran in too much and got him. And Francoeur has been hit by the pitch. So he will take his base. Well, yesterday had kind of a tough day anyway because his streak ended. He did not play in game 2 of yesterday's doubleheader, ending his consecutive game streak at 370.
And is that not typical baseball? You get a day off, you come back out in your first at bat, and you get drilled. I talked to him between games yesterday. He kind of had a tear in his eye about it, but he explained that Bobby Cox brought him into his office, and Bobby Cox says, you know what, this is more mental for you than it is physically. I don't think you're tired. I know you could play. We're going to miss you defensively, but mentally, I want you just to forget about the game of baseball and enjoy yourself as a fan would.
And you know what he did? All he did was eat. He ate and he ate and he ate. He got sick to his stomach because he wasn't playing.
He was sick all night. He was sick this morning. He said he had chew, he had seeds, he had gum, anything that was laying. Look at that. I mean, all of that stuff that was in there. Frenchie said he tried it all.
He is on at first base. And Kelly Johnson, the batter here, the second baseman, who's made an error tonight, although nothing came of that. 281, 5 homers, 20 runs batted in.
No problem.
Johnson swings, hard hit ball through the right side for a base hit. Francoeur runs well. He'll slam on the brakes though at second. And Chavez got to it quickly. Chavez, who earlier tonight made a wonderful running catch and right.
Well, he really did. That would have been an RBI for Teixeira. With all the gold gloves, Francoeur, Beltran that are out here, I mean, Chavez is every bit as good as every one of them. He just doesn't play every day to have an opportunity to win that award. Take a look at this in the first inning. He got 2 outs, so Chipper Jones at first is off and running. Peltry's in trouble. The ball's against the wall. That goes a long ways towards the confidence of a guy like Pelfrey that's been struggling. Look at that. And the one thing we remember about him, OB, how about that catch he made in Game 7 against the Cardinals in '06?
Well, at that time, it was being hailed as maybe the greatest catch in Mets history. If they had gone on and won that series, they did not. It was off of Scott Rowland.
Yeah. Seemed to be a big play until Yadier Molina hit his.
Right. First and second here, 1 away for Gregor Blanco, the rookie left fielder. On deck is Jurgens, the pitcher. Blanco's been playing a lot. This is his 24th start. Bobby Cox has really started to like the young man. Left-hand hitter out of Venezuela. Not a lot of power, but he does make contact and he has good speed. He takes the ball down low.
Real patient too, OB. I know, as you know, he can bunt for a base hit. He's got a lot of walks. He's an on-base percentage type guy.
Out of Caracas, Venezuela. Trying to keep the line moving for Bobby Cox here. Francoeur at second, Johnson at first. Nothing in the second inning, and that one is fouled away to the left. Well, we certainly want to pass along our best wishes to a great retirement to Mike Piazza.
Oh, yeah.
Longtime New York Mets star, of course, who has announced he is retiring from baseball. And Mike, who is eligible for the Hall of Fame class, the same class with Bonds and Sosa and Roger Clemens. The 2-1 pitch, waved at and missed. And a count on Blanco, 2 balls and 2 strikes. That's the great story, of course. Selected by the Dodgers in the 62nd round. Look at all the guys taken in front of him, and the career that Mike had, just incredible. 427 home runs, nearly 400 as a catcher.
Look at that down at the bottom. 1 of 12 players. I don't care what it is in Major League Baseball history. If you're 1 of 12, you're first ballot Hall of Fame.
Slice but foul just off the chalk line past right. Tommy Lasorda, who was very much involved in the drafting of Mike Piazza, is effectively his godfather, says, I would hope that Mike would go into the Hall of Fame as a Dodger.
No.
He said,
come on, Tommy.
He said, here we are. We're from the same town. We watched him grow up. It's one of the great stories in the history of baseball.
Tommy's still bleeding blue, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
He's going in as a Met.
Piazza seems to be indicating that is his choice. Now, the ultimate choice is made by the Hall of Fame.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
That one is down and in for a ball. But Mike said one of the hardest moments of his career was walking off the field at Shea Stadium for the final time. And he loved the fans there. He said, my relationship with the fans was what made my time in New York the happiest of my career. So you can see where he's leaning.
That'll be their decision. They'll put him in as a Met.
I think Tommy's going to continue to do some campaigning to make sure it's as a Dodger. 3-2 pitch, fought off again. Some of that toughness, that grit that you were talking about with Gregor Blanco that Bobby Cox likes.
Just a great at-bat right here. Hoping to be a productive at-bat if you're an Atlanta Brave fan. Belfry's in the same spot we talked about at the beginning. The key to him, he's got to get outs with his fastball. He's been touching 95, 96. If he can get something down right now, he might get that ground ball.
8th pitch of the at-bat, and in there for a strike. He got him. Blanco will walk away. A strikeout victim as we go to John Saunders for a SportsCenter in-game update.
Well, it's a Kawasaki update, as a matter of fact. The Phillies and the Nats. That's Pedro Feliz at the plate. And that ball is up, and it is gone. Pulled out to left center field for a home run, and the Phillies have a 2-0 lead. Dave.
John, thank you very much. And Feliz showed off that power at times with the San Francisco Giants, hitting about 20 a year. Now here's Jurgens, only a 125 average, no homers, no RBIs.
I remember talking to Bruce Bochy, the manager of the Giants, about Feliz, and I said, what's this guy like? I said, low maintenance? He says, no maintenance. I mean, the type of guy that every manager would love to have playing for him, and that occasional power.
And very underrated defensively.
Yes.
First and second occupied here with 2 down as Pelfrey skips the pitch. He's a tall one. Not compared to my partner, but close to 6'7".
He's a big boy. I went up and said hello to him before the game. You know, he's just that kind of body that you look for. Talking with the great pitching coach of the Mets, Rick Peterson, before the game, he said that you know, when you're a pitching coach, it's kind of like you're supposed to build a car, which is what he's trying to do with Pelfrey right now. And when you're the pitcher, you're just supposed to drive it. And what he's talking about is, you know, the mechanics they work on in between starts, that's where you build the car. But right now, just go drive it. And what Rick Peterson means by that is right now, throw your fastball for a strike. Give me your best fastball, not in, not out. Throw it for a strike.
Grounded to second. Castillo will stop it. Have plenty of time to get him. Side is retired. A hit batsman a single, but nothing across the plate. We have played 2 in Atlanta. Still the Mets nothing and Atlanta nothing.
Horsepower is here, and no leading synthetic oil delivers more power than Q horsepower, which is why it's recommended by Ferrari for every oil change. Q horsepower. Unleash all your horses.
Guess what, big companies? This small business just got internet with Microsoft Communication Services, only from Comcast. Now these productivity titans can share documents, backup files, and update calendars just like you. Now they've got your tools, and they're coming for your customers next. Booyah. Comcast Business Class. Turn your office on.
Call now to get Comcast Business Class voice, internet, and TV for $99 a month.
Bring the beautiful, durable colors of nature home. Valspar, the beauty goes on.
ESPN Wednesday Night Baseball, presented by Goodyear. Brought to you by beautiful, durable Valspar paint. Valspar, the beauty goes on. And Honda, sole engine supplier of the IndyCar Series.
Back in Atlanta, and here in the third inning, it's the top of the order for the Mets. Jose Reyes, who has singled. Andy Chavez and then David Wright trying to dig into Jurgens, who has a nifty-looking 2.82 earned run average coming in. Reyes with a single and a stolen base. He was stranded in scoring position in the first inning. And he's on again as he ropes that one into right field. So Reyes now 2 for 2. Maybe this is the beginning of things for the man who really does propel the Mets when they're going well. Last 2 years scoring 122 and 119 runs on a pace to score just 95.
Well, you mentioned that he had 3 hits yesterday. We'll take a look at the swing here. He's got the foot down, and he got a pitch that he could handle. I couldn't get over in the Mets clubhouse before the game, everybody talking about the pressure that Reyes is putting on himself. That's a tough thing to deal with. I mean, all the expectations about him, the covers of magazines, he's an MVP type guy. And then when the Mets collapsed, and I mean it was like no other in the history of baseball the last 17 games, they pointed the finger more at him than they did anybody else.
And he pointed the finger at himself when it was all said and done. Hit just 251 after the All-Star break. He takes off, got a great jump. Here's McCann's throw, not nearly in time. Another stolen base for Jose Reyes. give him 14. So once again, a single and a theft, and he's ready to score on a single.
I think this is one thing here that not everybody realizes. The beating that you take when you steal 78 bases and you play shortstop for 160 games and you score 120 some runs. It took him quite a while to shake off just the banging there from his left arm. He got up and his knees were bothering him a little bit. He was favoring his back, but now you can pick up a run without a hit.
Chavez 0 for 1. He is flied out to left. Of course, this is the site of the 1996 Summer Olympics, where they saw some pretty good speed masters as well right here. Reyes, another one, getting his lead from second base. Nobody out. Right, the on-deck hitter. That just missed inside on Chavez.
That was the one thing Brian Snyder was talking about Jurgens before the game. He said when he misses, he doesn't miss over the heart of the plate. Look at that. I mean, just barely right there in the bottom corner. Could have gone either way.
3 balls and 1 strike. Coming into tonight, 2 of the top Mets stars, Reyes and David Wright, in the 7 previous games against Atlanta had only hit 185 combined. So the Braves have done a very good job keeping them off base and keeping them frustrated. Well, Reyes has 2 hits. Bounding ball to the right side. Teixeira will do it himself. Down to third. Advances Reyes.
That'll do it. That'll do it. Jose Reyes right here creating an easy opportunity. Chavez is going to get high fives from everybody in the dugout. And with 1 more ground ball, David Wright's going to pick up an RBI, and Pelfrey will have the lead.
So a very productive out. Could help Wright to his 35th run batted in. The number 5 man in the National League in RBIs with 34. Last year, Wright hit .325, 30 homers. He drove in 170, won a Gold Glove. He stole 34 bases. He was an MVP candidate for a big chunk of the season. He takes low ball 1.
I thought it was his. With 17 games to go for the New York Mets and a 7-game lead over the Phillies, I thought he had the award.
Wright has really worked hard to make himself an outstanding defensive third baseman as he pops that one back. A few years ago, you would not have called him a Gold Glove candidate in the making. And he's been very, very good on the defensive side. Made 21 errors last year, but a lot of great stops. I remember a catch he made in San Diego 2 seasons ago. I think it was.
Diving.
That barehanded catch.
Yeah, oh my goodness.
Just ridiculous. The 1-1 pitch. Softly hit, but that'll find a home in the center field grass and chase in Reyes. And the Mets strike first tonight. Wright didn't hit it all that hard, but certainly hard enough for RBI number 35. 1-0 New York.
But you know how they say things even out in a game of baseball over the course of the year? He hit the ball hard his first time up. Reyes was at second. He lined out to shortstop Kelly Johnson at second base. This time, this ball's not hit near as hard, but it's elevated over the infield, and because of the speed of Reyes, another RBI for David Wright. That's got to be fun. It's got to be fun coming up with him 90 feet away down there in less than 2 outs.
Wright, of course, runs very well himself, getting a lead at first base, not going. The batter Carlos Beltran is 0 for 1. This is an area that Jurgens is going to have to improve on if he's going to be a big winner for Atlanta. He has allowed 9 of 10 who have attempted to steal against him to get there successfully, and Reyes' stolen base comes back to hurt him. Ground ball to the middle. Johnson to Infante, 1 on to first. They turn 2, and the inning is done. But Jose Reyes, with the speed game, capitalizes. He scores the run. It's 1-0 Mets.
Pistons, Celtics. KG led Boston to a commanding win in Game 1. Now the Pistons look to overcome the fierce Celtics D and steal a win on the road. Coverage of Game 2 begins Thursday at 7:30 on ESPN.
Let's go to the river.
Dad, turn here. How about the park?
I think we should hit downtown.
The all-new full-size Toyota Sequoia seats up to 8 with its easy access third-row seating. It also comes with a spacious cargo area, exceptional towing capability, and Toyota's legendary reliability. The all-new full-size Toyota Sequoia. Do whatever, whenever, wherever.
Mom, look at that view.
The Subway Handy Guide to Eating Fresh. Due to the fanatical response, we're putting $5 regular footlongs on the new Subway Everyday Value Menu. Not 2, not 4, but 8 mucho meaty footlongs. With $5 footlongs, eat fresh every day.
Well, when you come into Fidelity for guidance, you talk about your goals, review your investments, and then you get a strategy.
Right.
And you get account updates to help keep you on track. Or have it all managed for you with Fidelity Portfolio Advisory Service.
Yeah,
And all this comes with Fidelity's 60 years of money management experience. Oh, but I should let him talk. He's the one who works here.
Oh, I think you covered it.
Good.
No, really good job.
Thank you.
Investment guidance from Fidelity. Get started with a complimentary portfolio review.
Consistency pays off in business, travel, and baseball. Isn't that right, Cal?
That's right. What is Cal Ripken Jr. doing here?
Consistency earned him the nickname the Iron Man.
What will consistently staying at the Holiday Inn get me?
It could get you official MLB merchandise and tickets.
Could it get us all nicknames?
Like what?
Mrs. Ripken Jr.?
Bob. Snake Eyes?
Really?
The more you stay, the more you earn. Holiday Inn.
Well, the Mets grabbing the early lead 1-0 on Atlanta in Atlanta. And Thursday night, the NBA playoffs and the Eastern Conference Finals continue. Game 2 on ESPN as Chauncey Phillips and Detroit take on Kevin Garnett and the Celtics. The NBA playoffs on ESPN Thursday, 8:30, your destination for the NBA playoffs. The Celtics winning Game 1, 88-79. That's the 15th straight home win. Garnett was huge with 26 and 9.
Oh, that stuff is great, man. I mean, Game 7 for Boston against Atlanta, against New Orleans. Great stuff. And then what the Spurs have done.
And the Celtics continue to win at home. Not on the road yet in the postseason. But it hasn't mattered yet. Here's Infante is lined out to center. Be followed by Kotze and then Chipper Jones.
Speaking of NBA and basketball, I'm talking with Moises Alou before the game, and he said, "Hey, how's our boy Charles Barkley doing?" I said, "He's doing fine." Well, you know, I said, "You want to talk to him?" So I called him. Charles answered. "Charles, I'm standing here with Moises and Billy Wagner." I said, "They want to know if we need to, you know, write a check and send it to you. You need some money." And typical Charles says, "Why don't you take one of those hats in that Met clubhouse and pass it around for me?"
He wanted your hat, didn't he?
He wanted my hat. I guess there's a little more room in there. And Charles said, "Make sure they don't put any ones in there."
Infante strikes out here in front of Mark Kotze. And Moises Alou is coming out of the ball game, or at least coming in for treatment.
You know what? He said that his ankle was bothering him. I saw him jumping around out there as we were looking at him. Oh, man, right when, you know, things start getting right for David Wright, Reyes doing his thing, this guy bringing everything together. OB, when you see him walk off the field like that, you're talking DL.
Well, he was the DH on Sunday against the Yankees. They had to put him in that spot to protect that sore left ankle. As mentioned, he's nearly 42. As we go down to Aaron Andrews for more on this.
Hoping it's not a cramp, OB. As Moises Alou walked off, Willie Randolph was there waiting for him, and he just says, "I have a cramp. I could go take care of it." So doesn't seem like it's the ankle. He mentioned it was a cramp.
Great.
He has come out of the ball game. And so the New York Mets are going to have to make a move here and bring Marlon Anderson in to play left. So Marlon Anderson coming on to play left for Willie Randolph and will bat out of the 5 spot.
You know, and nobody feels worse about this than Moises himself. But, you know, the one thing about him as you get older, you know when, I mean, he realized this is a tough game. This is a pitcher's duel right now. And there was a ball hitting the outfield that he should have caught that he couldn't have got to. I mean, he's doing the best thing for the team right now, taking himself out, even though he was due to be the leadoff hitter in the top of the 4th for the Mets.
You know, wow describes a lot of things that have happened both on the field and off the field for the New York Mets over the last 6 or 7 days.
You know, and I talked with Pedro Martinez today down in the Dominican Republic, OB, and right when you know, John Lester, what he was able to do, and you know, me being fortunate with my treatments, our thoughts and prayers need to go with Pedro. His father, things aren't going as well down there, and
his father, 78 years old, Pablo, with brain cancer,
and not able at this point to take chemotherapy. And
Kotze swings and fouls that one away for strike one. You talk to Pedro Martinez, and the word is Pedro is considering not retiring this year, but next season, because I'm not sure if he told you this or not, but the report is that now with his father, and especially in such tough condition, feels like he has missed out on taking care of his parents, and that's really hit him full force. Whether or not his opinion changes, if his father can get well, if they can beat that, who knows.
Coming off such a great rehab outing too for Pedro. He threw 4 1/3 innings, 77 pitches, 57 strikes. Everything was going well.
Says, I have not been there for them. I just realized that between last year and this year, that'll probably drag me away from the game a little sooner than people expect. After this season, I'm going back home and think about it and decide about retiring from baseball or not. The count, 3 balls and 1 strike on Kotze. 1 man out as he knocks that one foul.
You know, you just think about Willie Randolph, OB, and getting Moises Alou back after sweeping the Yankees, the excitement of coming here. Pedro Saturday had a great outing, might get him back in 10 days possibly, and now, you know, you've possibly lost both of them for a while.
3-2 pitch, that one hit into left, coming on. Anderson tested right away, makes the catch
right there.
2 up, 2 down as we go to John Saunders for Sports Center in-game update. John.
Well, Brandon Webb, as you know, is looking to start the season 10-0, and he's got the strikeout working there. Breaking ball against Jacobs. Luis Gonzalez is the next up to the plate. And Webb again comes with a breaking ball. He hasn't given up a hit yet, looking to become the first pitcher in 23 years to start 10-0.
John, thank you very much. It's Chipper Jones who has walked tonight, but back to Brandon Webb, a 2.56 ERA. What a stud he's been.
I saw him face the Colorado Rockies, and the batting leader in the National League a year ago, Matt Holliday, he chased a fastball in the dirt for strike 3 because it had so much movement on it. I mean, that sinker of Brandon Webb's, there's none better in baseball right now.
Well, no better hitter in Major League Baseball right now than Chipper Jones. Hitting .409 with 11 homers.
You can just see what he's doing now. As we talked about in the open, he knows he can dictate the action. I mean, he's taking a bigger swing. He's going to be more and more aggressive if he gets anything in the zone.
That's the count all his way now, Suddy. A 3-1.
Mediocre breaking ball at best. And Pelfrey, as he knows, doesn't have the command on any of his secondary pitches to use it there. Chipper knows it. Pelfrey knows it. Brian Snyder knows it.
He went after that heater.
Look at that number, though.
97. 3-2.
Chipper says he turned his radar gun up a little bit. I need to turn mine. You got to do it again. Right down the middle. Snyder's not going anywhere.
He missed. And Chipper Jones has taken 2 walks. He may want to get used to that for the rest of the summer.
We talked before the game because Brian Snyder told us the key to Pelfrey was being able to locate that fastball and get out on the first base side of home plate with left-handed hitters. There was Kotze, Teixeira. Look at him jamming McCann right there, and then he gets Blanco looking for a big strike 3. All 4 of those outs, OB, on that part of the plate he needs to be.
He is struck out twice. Here's Teixeira, who is 0 for 1, having flied out to right field. Brian McCann would follow. A couple of strikeouts for Pelfrey. He's also walked 2 and hit a batter, so As you mentioned, occasionally has trouble with command. Off the corner on Teixeira.
Yeah, but when you say he's walked two, the two walks that he has are a guy that's hitting .409.
The guy he hit is J.Francoeur. Really paid the prices. That one got him on the elbow with 1 out in the 2nd inning. So that got him pretty good. He was in a little bit of pain even after he came off the bases. Down low again on Teixeira. Belfry starting to miss. 3-0. J.Francoeur was able to wrap up that elbow. You see it on that right elbow. The 3-0 home, taking all the way. That's the strike. 3-1, 2 out, a runner at first base. 1-0 New York. We're in the 3rd. Belfry deals. High chop foul off to the right by Teixeira.
Boy, that's outstanding. Brian Snyder knowing before the game what he needed to do. Take a look at the location again. Look at the glove not moving anywhere, and you're able to get the count to 3-2. And now if you can make a pitch, you can get out of this thing.
If not, he's going to have to face a very hot hitter on deck in McCann. There goes Chipper. Lunging swing and a tapper. Here's Castillo. Oh, he hesitated, and that cost him. Down to 3rd moves Chipper Jones. Little hitch there by Luis Castillo, the 3-time Gold Glover. And everybody's safe, and the inning's still alive for Atlanta.
I think Castillo made his mistake with his positioning. Maybe 3 or 4 years ago when he was healthy and he had that speed, he could make this play. But look how deep he is. He's almost in right field. But now as he comes to get it, he hesitates, he gets set, and Obi, like you said, when he bobbled it, that took too long. Teixeira hustling down the line. I think you've got to give him a base hit on this. Chipper going all the way to 3rd. And as you mentioned, here comes a guy at home plate, McCann swinging a hot bat. Castillo cannot play that deep anymore. Those Gold Gloves that he won, that's it. He's not winning anymore. Those are over.
Last of those in 05. It will be a base hit for Mark Teixeira. And now McCann 0 for 1 with a fly to center. But 15 RBIs in his last 14 games and hitting over 400 in that stretch. He takes ball 1.
Remember the defensive mistake made by the Braves with Kelly Johnson on that error with Delgado? That was the poise that you've seen with Jurgens being able to get out of that. That's been the question mark with Mike Pelfrey.
Fouled away. Good rip by McCann. 1 ball, 1 strike.
This is a guy right here that I honestly think the Mets have made a lot of mistakes with. Pelfrey was the #1 pick back in 05 out of Wichita State. He didn't pitch that year. But the following year, he had like 16 starts in the minor leagues, A and AA, and they brought him up. I mean, that's too soon. We know that right now, and you can obviously see it with Pelfrey.
There's a drive, high and deep to right center field. Will Chavez get this one on the move? He can't get it. Onto the warning track. Here comes Teixeira. 2 runs will score. A 2-run double by McCann. And even though it went into the books as a base hit, Castillo cost them 2 runs with that hesitation at second. And Atlanta takes the lead 2-1.
Even at his young age, Brian McCann already an outstanding hitter with runners in scoring position. You give the Atlanta Braves an extra out with the power and the depth they have in their lineup, they're going to make you pay. If Chavez and Beltran can't get to this, there's not another tandem in Major League Baseball that's going to run that ball down. But again, you get back to the immaturity right now on the part of Pelfrey. He kind of got frustrated. He just started throwing. McCann knew he was going to get a fastball, and all of a sudden now the Braves have the lead. Yeah, Castillo made the mental error. He should have made the play. But this is the mistake in the past that the Mets have made with Pelfrey. They rushed him through the minor leagues. Last year he was up and down 4 times. They don't know what to do with him right now. And if they would have just let him go through the process, go through Double-A, pitch a little bit in Triple-A, he would have figured all that out on his own.
Having a difficult time lately figuring things out. He is 0-4 after starting off the season 2-0. That's 18 doubles, by the way, for McCann. Francoeur hit by a pitch on the elbow his first time. Very, very streaky hitter. Fouls this one back. Jeff, a terrific athlete here in the Atlanta area. Turned down a football scholarship to Clemson as he wanted to play baseball and signed with the Atlanta Braves.
You ought to see him hit a golf ball. Wow.
0-2 breaking ball off the plate.
Smoltz was talking about it in spring training. A lot of them go play, Glavine, Chipper. And I said, who hits it the furthest? He said, oh, there's no question. This guy, Frenchie.
Smoltz and Tiger get together as a regular pair. That fastball missing. 2-2. Chipper Jones started it off by taking ball 4. And McCann would bring in Jones and Teixeira after the mistake by Castillo, even though it was ruled a base hit. And 2 costly runs allowed by the beleaguered Mets. That one flicked foul out of play to the right. And now Schneider out to have a word with Pelfrey.
A lot of ways that you can go with Francoeur at home plate. I mean, he will expand his zone. I think Schneider talked about how he's able to handle the staff going out there saying, hey, stay back, just bounce me a breaking ball and see if he won't chase it so that we can get out of this thing.
Now here comes the 32nd pitch of the inning. Spoiled again by Francoeur.
I don't know what they're talking about. I mean, he's thrown a lot of pitches this inning. That was 94 right down the middle. When Francoeur's swinging the bat well, he does something with that. Right now he's struggling. It's a reason that he was given game 2 of the doubleheader yesterday off.
Bobby Cox said just a mental health day.
You look at the total now, how it's starting to climb.
Well, and that has a bigger impact, obviously, on a guy who is 6'7" and throws 97. And Pelfrey laboring here in the 3rd inning. Atlanta has the lead 2-1, looking for another one. The count fills up. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out.
You know, that's all Schneider wanted, but he said, just make it look like a strike. But he didn't do it. That ball clearly started off. Look at it. It's a breaking ball. Look at how far outside it ends up. I mean, even Frenchie's not going to swing at that.
3-2, a high fly ball. This is driven deep into left center. Anderson back on the track, and that ball is high off the wall. It's going to bring in another run. McCann is in. Here goes Francoeur. He wants 3, and he's got a stand-up triple. And he came just a few feet from hitting it out of the ballpark. Atlanta on top now, 3-1.
I can't help but think back to the special Aaron did earlier on Brian McCann and Francoeur. They've been buddies since they were 10 years of age. They competed against each other in high school. They both married high school sweethearts. They were drafted the same year by the same team in the 1st and 2nd round. They went offensively and defensively. The Braves are in great shape for a long time behind the plate and in right field.
27 RBIs now for Francoeur to chase in his buddy McCann. Here's Kelly Johnson, who becomes the 7th Atlanta Braves hitter in this inning. 3-1 Atlanta. Now the Mets manufactured a run in the top of the inning.
Well, he just keeps shaking his head. I mean, he feels horrible right now that he wasn't able to make that play.
He really handed the Braves 3 runs, didn't he?
Look at him looking after the outfield, taking his glove off. That's a man with a lot of pride. Willie Randolph, same thing, but Castillo knows that mentally he can't. physically he can't get to that ball anymore. So mentally he's got to know he can't position himself there anymore.
Here's pitch number 37. Popped him up over third, right with a play into foul territory. And finally it is over with 3-run score, and they all scored with 2 out, and following the mistake by Castillo.
You know, we're similar to NASCAR.
That inning right there might have cost him the ball game here tonight. Trying to pick up some momentum, beat a team within your division. And right off the bat, OB, I think of Moises Alou. Not only could he put those 2 guys together and say, hey, we're all right, you know, those things happen, but he'd be standing at home plate right now with a bat in his hand.
And that's because Marlon Anderson went in for Moises Alou, who walked out of the outfield complaining of a cramp. That is what Aaron Andrews, our reporter, overheard him saying. Our first inclination was to think it must have been that sore left ankle that has been troubling Moises Alou. Apparently not the case. Anderson, who subs for him, pops it up. And Chipper Jones in foul territory makes the catch. As we go to John Saunders for Sports Center in-game update. John?
Well, Vladimir Guerrero continues to wield one of the hottest bats in baseball, but against the Toronto Blue Jays and Sean Markham, that has not been too difficult. That's the first of 2 home runs. And this one, little question as he sends it out to left field. 2 home runs for Guerrero.
So Vlad the Impaler at work tonight north of the border. Here's Delgado. He takes one outside, ball 1.
Had to be a big shot for the Angels and Mike Scioscia to get John Lackey back last night. He went out there and dominated, won his first game of the year. And look at what they've done. No Lackey, no Escobar. 19-game winners a year ago. Yet Mike Scioscia's got him still on top of the American League West.
I did see the comments by Orlando Cabrera, who's played for a lot of good managers, and made the comment about Mike Scioscia that his level of preparedness is so far above everyone else. He said this is not to disparage anyone else that I've ever played for. I've played for some great guys, but he said Scioscia just sees things and thinks things at a higher level than anyone he's ever played for, in his opinion. Delgado grounds out. 2 up and 2 down. Now we'll see if the Mets can bounce back. In that last half inning, kind of a microcosm of the frustrations of the New York Mets here in 2008.
Well, see, I think this is where the frustration has come in on the part of the Mets media, the Mets fans. I mean, you just looked in that dugout and they're dead. There's no fire. Somebody get on base. Somebody steal a base. Somebody try to take an extra base. That's what they're looking for.
Gotten a miss by Brian Schneider. Reached on an error by Johnson, the second baseman. Although, unlike the case with Pelfrey, Jurgens was able to pitch around that. He struck out Castillo. He got Pelfrey to ground out to end that threat. There's a busted back ground ball to the right side. Kelly Johnson digs it. And Jurgens, after being handed a 3-1 lead, shuts him down quickly on 9 pitches. Is there life in that dugout? It's time. Actually, Chipper Jones always makes things quite hairy for the Mets. It is 3-1 Atlanta, bottom half of the 4th inning coming your way. Chipper all smiles, still.
Well, he's laughing at what you just said there.
I doubt that very much. Yeah, he did. He did get it.
He got it.
It'll be Blanco and then Jurgens and then Infante against Mike Pelfrey, trying to shake off a rough 3rd inning.
You know what? You can keep that pressure on him right here by Blanco getting on base.
Tried to drag that bunt, but he pushed it out too far, and he is done. 1-3 on the bunt. Jurgens coming up. You know, Willie Randolph was talking mainly about, he said, Ron Darling and Keith Hernandez, the analysts on SNY, the Mets channel, when he said this. They paint the picture the way they want to, shooting me when I'm ready to go down the dugout. Why aren't they doing that when I'm clapping my hands and patting guys in the butt, schooling them during the game? I'm on a top step every game. Why don't you show that side of me? And that's really where that all started, intimating that race was a part of that he was being treated differently because He is a black manager, being treated differently by the media, those who cover the ball club. And Willie Randolph apologizing for those comments and several other comments along those lines earlier today. As Jurgens rolls this one softly to Reyes. Close play, but he got him. So 2 down. He had actually withdrawn those comments to a large degree. There's been a lot of negative stuff going around here. I've been viewing some of that. I was just expressing how I felt at the time. It wasn't anything to do with race. I wasn't trying to bring race into it. I was just talking to an old friend. Obviously, I probably should have thought more about what I was really trying to say.
You could tell that he was clearly embarrassed before the game tonight because of the distraction that he had caused for his ball club, and hence that's when the apology came.
Infante fouls that back, and so more comments. The formal apology today, apologizing to the ownership, SNY. I shouldn't have said what I said. It was a mistake. As simple as that. No excuse. I own up to it. The fact of life. We haven't been playing very well as a team. Inconsistent. You mentioned that he was emotional about it, and you were in his office in the hours before the game tonight.
He was embarrassed. You know what? But I totally agree with him. As simple as that. All he had to do was apologize. There's nothing to do with race when you're talking about Keith Hernandez or Ron Darling. That was all frustration on the part of Willie. And, you know, Willie Randolph should know New York as well as anybody.
Little blooper to center field. That'll fall in. Castillo can't reach it. It's a base hit for Omar Infante. And for more on this story, which may be at its end, let's go to Aaron Andrews.
It was interesting to talk to some of the Mets players today, OB, about their thoughts about Willie's comments and what he had said. You know, Ryan Church didn't want to talk to the media today. He was very guarded. Of course, they all wanted to talk to him about his head injury. He didn't want to have anything to do with that. You could sense a lot of it is they were guarded towards their manager. But Moises Alou echoed exactly what you said. He said, I feel bad for Willie, but he has to know with the New York media, they're going to blow up every single thing you say. And they certainly did. By the way, we just did hear from Mets PR, and Moises Alou does have cramping in that left calf. So good news, it's not the ankle, guys.
Good deal. That's great news for well, I mean, I'm a baseball fan, and if you're a Met fan, you know how important Moises Alou is.
Kotze goes after the first pitch and fouls it off for strike one.
Things are just going in the wrong direction for the Mets. They have been. Their expectations, as we talked about, you know, are high. They won 97 games in 06. You know, they were almost going to the World Series. But then all of a sudden, only 88 last year. The collapse right at the end. And you look right now with a loss tonight, they're a 500 team. Reyes has not been doing what was expected of him. David Wright's not hitting 300. Beltran, the numbers are way down. Delgado, they're worried about him. Pedro's not back yet. El Duque is not back yet. You don't know what's going on. There's just things are kind of spiraling downward right now for the New York Mets. That was the frustration on the part of Willie Randolph. What he said was wrong. But you know what? He owned up to it. And I think, like he said, it's as simple as that. Let's move on. Let's get the focus back on this team. And, OB, the truth is this team's not playing very well.
Just one game over 500 coming into tonight as Kotze chops that one toward the middle. A friendly bounce for Castillo. The easy out at second base retires the side. We have wrapped up 4 innings in Atlanta. It's still the Braves on top of the Mets, 3-1.
Let's go to the river.
Dad, turn here. How about the park?
I think we should hit downtown.
The all-new full-size Toyota Sequoia seats up to 8 with its easy access third-row seating. It also comes with a spacious cargo area, exceptional towing capability, and Toyota's legendary reliability. The all-new full-size Toyota Sequoia. Do whatever, whenever, wherever.
Mom, look at that view.
Go out tonight. You bring the sunshine, make me feel alright. I'll pour my heart out while I toast our hell. If I got friends, I don't need anyone else. If I ain't got you, then I ain't got nothing.
The Subway Handy Guide to Eating Fresh Every Day. Due to the fanatical response, we're putting $5 regular footlongs on the new Subway Everyday Value Menu. We repeat, $5 footlongs now on the new Subway Everyday Value Menu. Not 2, not 4, but 8 mucho meaty footlongs, like the Beyond Amazing Meatball Marinara and the crowd-pleasing Spicy Italian, which should result in the additional hand gestures. With $5 footlongs, eat fresh every day.
Sports are great for a kid's body. Steroids aren't. They can ruin tendons in legs and arms. Steroids can stunt bone growth and increase the chances of liver cancer, heart attack, and stroke. Steroids don't make great athletes. They destroy them. Talk to your kids. Need help? Get help. Visit drugfree.org.
Welcome back to Wednesday Night Baseball, presented by Goodyear on a sensational day here in Atlanta that has turned into a beautiful evening. All just for you and your return, Rick Sutcliffe.
You thought of everything, didn't you?
Braves with 3 there in the 3rd inning, helped along by the man at the plate. Unfortunately for Luis Castillo, a tough moment for him and a very costly play at second base. He struck out his first time up.
Now get on base. He can't change any of that. He had 2nd and 3rd and 1 out. All he had to do was hit a ground ball and he would have had an RBI and a run. What he can do right now is get on base. Doesn't matter how.
Hitting .261, takes up high for a ball. Castillo was over in the American League with the Twins for several years, before the Mets acquired him last July. It's actually about 2 seasons with them. Off the glove of J.Francoeur. Does he have time? He does. Well, about 5 or 6 years ago, he might not have had time. Castillo ran a lot faster back then. He is out as we go to John Saunders in the studio for the Sports Center right now.
Well, USC intends to tell the NCAA it knew of no wrongdoing involving O.J. Mayo and banned his mentor Rodney Guillory from receiving tickets as an illustration of its attempt to prevent the basketball star from receiving improper benefits. Meanwhile, Jason Taylor and Bill Parcells continue to not get along. It looks like the 6-time Pro Bowl defensive end has played his last game for the Miami Dolphins. He's not going to camp.
Jason Taylor having a lot more fun, or was, on Dancing with the Stars than he is playing football. His relationship with Parcells, sliced foul by Pelfrey, who was 0 for 1 on a ground out. He'll be followed by Jose Reyes. 3-1 the Braves here in the 5th inning. Atlanta sweeping a doubleheader from the Mets yesterday.
Easily.
Yeah, a couple easy wins. 6-1, 6-2. That one top foul. Reyes is a perfect 2 for 2 as he waits his turn in the on-deck area.
It's just like everything's starting to fall in place right now for Bobby Cox. It is his birthday. What'd you say? He was 16-6?
16-6 managing on his birthday.
On May the 21st.
Better than anybody, any manager in history on their birthday. Well, the gal wishing Bobby Cox happy birthday.
That'll put a smile on
you. 1-2 down into the dirt and no offer.
I'll tell you another thing that'll put a smile on Bobby Cox's face is watching this 22-year-old deal on the mound. People wondered, how could they trade Edgar Renteria? Hit over 300, all-star, you know. Well, this is what they got in return. And they also opened up a spot for Escobar to play shortstop. And, boy, what a player he has become.
2-2 from Jurgens, little tapper foul. A 2.76 ERA at the moment for Jair Jurgens. 22-year-old from Curacao.
I just love his windup. It's just a classic, no wasted motion, John Smoltz kind of thing. Look at it, just real simple. Look at that leg kick. Steps up front, high leg kick.
Punch to the right side, sliding stop to Teixeira. Jurgens gets there to cover the bag for out number 2.
We've talked about his delivery and how he's able to repeat it, whether it's a fastball right there at 94 for a strikeout or it's a changeup at 84 away. fastball again at 94 down. OB again pitching to contact with everything. But what he's done right here is take 2 pitches, using them to both sides of the plate. And without the speed of Jose Reyes, he would be throwing a shutout right now against the New York Mets.
Pitch count is okay at 58. With 1 more out to get here in the 5th inning. He's retired the last 6 Mets with nobody hitting the ball out of the infield. Reyes takes that one down low off the umpire. 2 singles for Jose Reyes and 2 stolen bases. And he scored the last time he did that in the 3rd inning.
That might have been the best pitch Jurgen's thrown tonight. We struck out Castillo. That was bigger. But you got a guy that's 2 for 2. You got a free shot at moving his feet. That's all he did with that pitch. Now you go away. Not able to throw a strike there. But what you've done is hopefully get him off the plate. You've upset the hitter's timing just a little bit to where now you can just throw a fastball away and he'll either hit a fly ball to center or he'll hit a ground ball to one of your middle infielders. But you had to move his feet first.
Reyes hitting at 280, 4 homers. He's driven in 19. He's had an unusual thing he's been doing with his feet, Reyes.
Unbelievable from the right side. It's almost comical to watch him swing the bat right-handed. We won't see that tonight unless a left-hander comes in out of the pen for the Braves, but he moves his back foot forward.
They count 3-1. So batting right-handed, you've got to leave that right foot planted. That's your drive leg. He's been moving that up.
Yeah, everybody says he's okay from the left side, and we've seen that tonight. He's already 2 for 2. That's a mental mistake on the part of Jurgens.
Now he walks him, a man who's already taken 2 bases off him tonight, as we go back to John Saunders for Sports Center right now.
Well, A-Rod in his first game back homer. This is second game back, and that's gone as well. First time this year he's homered in back-to-back games. 524 on his career as the Yankees lead the O's 6-0.
Chavez now, he's flied out and grounded out as Reyes scoots back in. New York Yankees in last place. They have lost 4 in a row. They're 7.5 out. So one of the troubling things from a Yankee fan's perspective is they're not a good home team. 9-12 at Yankee Stadium. That is taken for a strike.
They're not a good team. Just flat out. When you think about the hopes they had coming into the season with the rotation, Kennedy's been sent down. Hughes has struggled. Of course, you know, when you lose Posada, I mean, that's a monster. You didn't expect that. I mean, that guy had never been on the DL.
Yeah, they're expecting him back in June. He did start throwing on Sunday.
You lose A-Rod.
You get A-Rod back, 1 strike on the hitter. He went after a high one there. The count's 0-2.
Andy Pettit's not been the same. I mean, he's been decent, but he's not been as good as he was when he had the Yankee uniform on before. Mariano's been perfect, but they've not gotten to him as much as they need to. I said in the very beginning, the one game we did in spring training, that I thought Jabba Chamberlain needed to be in the rotation. That rotation was not strong enough to keep up with the Red Sox without him there.
Softly hit. Infante will shovel, and the side is retired. For the Mets, no runs or hits, a walk, 1 man left. We're at the midway point in Atlanta, and Chipper Jones is on the way up for the Braves.
The Indianapolis 500. Coverage begins Sunday at noon Eastern on ABC.
Take me out to the ball game! Take me out with the crowd! Buy me some peanuts and...
Want to lead the singing of Take Me Out to the Ball Game? At the 2008 All-Star Game? Enter your video at MLB.com/BabyRuth for your chance to win.
The winner of Europe's SUV of the year with 200 turbocharged horses. You done? The all-new Volkswagen Tiguan. But Europe's SUV of the year? You're so compact, you're practically my size.
Europeans are crazy.
Technically, I'm European?
Exactly.
Woo! Wait, I had a clever comeback.
The hamburgers at some places go right from the grill to the... Ew. But
But Wendy's hot and juicy hamburgers go straight from the grill to the bun to you. It's way better than fast food. It's Wendy's.
Where am I? At the intersection of my new life and my new lifestyle. Driving.
Get the right coverage at a great price. Talk to a State Farm agent.
I am so there.
Ciroc, ultra premium vodka. Drink responsibly.
She's even more beautiful now. Are you? Me? Quite a while from now. So, how'd I do? You did great. But don't forget about us. Even in retirement, we still need financial advice. We have to protect and grow our money. You never know what's around the corner, Grandpa.
Get to know your future self with Lincoln Financial Group at lincolnfinancial.com.
Bottom of the fifth inning from Turner Field, 3-1 Atlanta leading the New York Mets. It'll be Chipper Jones, Mark Teixeira, Brian McCann. That's the heart of the order against Pelfrey. Chipper hasn't had a whole lot to swing at tonight. He's walked twice and scored a run and immediately takes a ball outside. 409 with 11 home runs for the switch hitter. He has almost 2,200 hits. And if not for a couple of injury-plagued seasons in 2005 and 2006, he would already be well beyond 400 homers. And on his way to 500 perhaps. He's hit 397 coming into tonight. Pelfrey with a big fastball offers that one outside. And again, he's getting nothing to hit. I mean, does it really start this early when you're trying to keep a guy down? I mean,
no, it's just all from the neck up on Mike Pelfrey right now. It's just, you know, he knows he's behind. He sees what Jurgens is doing. You know, when you think back to his last start, Obi, you mentioned he lost 1-0 in that ball game. We know that in the last 14 innings, the Mets have scored 1 run for him.
3-1, that one hammered. Deep left center, sailing back. Beltran looks up, it's gone. 398. Closing in on 400. So Pelfrey wanted nothing to do with him the first couple of times, and he put him on ball 4. And now Chipper touches them all when he finally gets a ball to swing at. A little some kind of hot
dictation right there, as we talked about in the open. When you get on a guy on the mound that's not going to dominate you, he's not going to overpower you. If you're Chipper Jones, he's simply just gotten smarter. Chipper says, I can dictate the action. And what he means by that is I can wait on my pitch and I can drive it either into the gap or beyond, as he did there.
He's got to be right on both sides of the plate from day one in order for this to happen.
Take a look at this. There's the first pitch outside. Boy, Chipper is just gearing it up. I mean, he's got it in his sights. All right, I'll take 3-0. Now watch this swing I take. He knew all along what he was going to do. He's thinking outer half of the plate. Okay, I can go. I can hit the ball out of the park to that part of the field. No problem.
Fair ball. Pass first off the bat of Teixeira. He's heading to second up against the wall. And Chavez misplays it. It went right through him. Teixeira heading into third, and he's there standing up. And the Mets, we've talked about all of the issues of Willie Randolph's team, including Willie himself over the last 48 hours. At times, they do not look like their heads are in the game.
Well, I don't think Mike Pelfrey's going to be in the game much longer either. It's starting to get away from him, probably more so mentally than physically. His velocity's still good, but it's like he's just not getting any help from anybody. Should have been out of the inning with a ground ball Teixeira hit earlier in his last at bat. This ground ball hit a lot harder down into the corner. Once again, the defense letting him down. I mean, Chavez, I mean, that's not a tough play. Mentally, The New York Mets just seem to be somewhere else. That's got to be an error. That ball goes right by him. The next thing you know, you got a man at third. You got nobody out. You're already down 4-1. They're out there stalling for time. They've got to get somebody ready in the bullpen. It's just a mess right now.
Chavez with his first error. We were lauding his play earlier, his errorless play, but you can put an E9 right next to that double of M.Teixeira. Pedro Feliciano is the man starting to loosen up in the Mets bullpen. Here's McCann, the infield in now for New York, and it's ball one. The Braves heart of the order, 3 through 6, 2 doubles, a triple, and a homer tonight. Chipper Jones just took care of the home run. McCann has doubled in 2 and also flied out. Rocketed foul as that one is pulled wickedly into the seats.
So much fun to hit when you know what's coming. The young man right now does not have the ability to use any of his secondary pitches. Breaking balls below average, change-ups below average, no command of either one of them, particularly when he's behind in the count.
And that has to be the most helpless feeling in the world in the center of that diamond.
And to me, it all happened 2 years ago when they brought him up from Double-A after only 16 starts at the minor league level. I know he's a #1 pick, Wichita State, a good program, but they rushed him to the big leagues, and they're paying the price right now. This guy could use at least a half season in Triple-A to figure these things out.
Well, there's no question about his ability, his stuff.
None. Probably the best stuff on the team. I mean, he throws harder than Santana.
2-1 is off the corner. Now 3 balls and 1 strike. He had a no-hitter going into the 7th inning in his last start. The New York Mets have never had a no-hitter in their franchise history. That was spoiled against Washington. He actually lost that game 1-0. Infield leaning in, and that's going to be low for ball 4. So he passes on McCann. That'll put runners at first and third again. Nobody out. And the batter will be J.Francoeur. Francoeur has already tripled and been hit by a pitch. And you see it there, 3 through 6, really getting it done.
They've gotten it done all year long. The Braves come into play tonight, 2nd in the National League as a team in batting average. Of course, a lot of that is supplied by Chipper Jones. Chipper Jones right now, what is he hitting? .412 on the year.
Francoeur lays off down low for a ball, and Pelfrey knows that Francoeur is the ultimate free swinger. We saw Vladimir Guerrero, the Angels, hit 2 home runs already tonight in Toronto.
Well, we've heard it many times. I think I heard you say it for the first time. Frenchie makes Vladimir look selective.
Yeah.
This will be a big swing if it's anywhere close.
It was, and it was. 1 ball and 1 strike. Atlanta on top 4-1. One of those ball games where in a couple of very crucial spots, Willie Randolph's Mets cannot get out of their own way. Francoeur gets a piece of it. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Chavez booting that ball in right field to allow Teixeira to take an extra base. Castillo was not charged with an error on Teixeira's ground ball, but he'll tell you later he certainly will feel like he made an error.
That led to 3 runs.
The 1-2 pitch to Francoeur. Here it comes. Breaking ball through the hole for a base hit. Teixeira scores, make it 5-1 Atlanta. And have we seen the end of the road for Mike Pelfrey tonight?
It should be, and it looks like it will be.
Here comes Willie Randolph to make the switch. He's going to go to the bullpen. Atlanta now with 8 hits, 3 of them in this inning. Feliciano coming on. We'll be back in Atlanta with more in just a moment.
If you're fed up with the pump, then meet Chevy's MVPs of MPG.
Out out-of-market game this season live online. For more details, visit www.mlb.com, MLB.tv. All by himself, Mike Pelfrey, alone on that bench, giving up 8 hits. His defense let him down, though, despite the 5 earned runs.
John Maine there patting him on the back. John knows how that feels. I mean, we've all been there. But I'm telling you right now, the Mets need to talk to this kid. They need to send him down, say, we're going to give you 6 weeks. Go down there and have fun. Because you know what, OB? Right now, baseball is not fun for Mike Pelfrey.
Feliciano coming on, a left-hander pitching well in 22 appearances, a 184 earned run average.
You know, he's really good, and he's really, really tough on left-handed hitters.
Trying to stop it right here. He needs an out. Waved at and missed by Kelly Johnson, who has singled and popped up 1 for 2. Johnson, a left-handed hitter. He missed time at the top of the season with a knee strain. He then returned on April 5th as a pinch hitter. And he promptly belted a grand slam to help beat the Mets. There's 2 men on here as he looks at a ball. 1-1 the count.
He's a really good offensive player. He can handle left-handed pitching for the most part. Bobby Cox had him in the leadoff position early in the year, and he said it was what was best for our team. But now he's got him down in the order, which he says is best for Kelly Johnson. This guy's got some power. He can drive in some runs. This is a tough spot and a tough pitcher for him to face. But Bobby Cox said he did everything we needed there. Now we got Escobar on his feet. He's confident. I'm not worried about him. He's our leadoff guy. Now Kelly can go, you know, forget about working the count and swing the bat.
He's hit 5 home runs this season. Takes a fastball up, and it's 3-1. Both of the men on base belong to Pelfrey. McCann at second and Francoeur at first. Feliciano taking his time. A lefty-lefty duel here. Nobody out and 2 on for Atlanta. And it is outside for ball 4. The bases are loaded up in front of the youngster, Gregor Blanco.
Let's talk about winning baseball, something that the Atlanta Braves for a long time have known a lot about. We'll take a look at them up the middle. Right there, look at the double play, nicely being turned by Escobar, and there's Johnson flipping it to him. You get the defense out of him, and there's that home run that you were talking about. That was Tom Glavine on the mound, a left-hander. You see the power there, and you see why they are so excited about that double play combination they have now, OB.
Johnson taking ball 4, 26-year-old out of Austin, Texas. One of the great music towns in America. Blanco's gone 0 for 2. He has whiffed and grounded back to the pitcher. He tried to hold up, and he did. 1 ball, 1 strike. Atlanta really dominating the scoring in this series. They have outscored the Mets 17-4. This is game 3. 1 more to come tomorrow. McCann, Francoeur, and Johnson filling up the bases. Infield in for the Mets. High fly ball into right. This one plenty deep enough. Backing up Chavez. McCann will tag up. He'll come on in to score, and that makes it 6-1. Charge that run to Pelfrey. Francoeur advancing down to third base as Blanco gets it done. His 7th run batted in on the young season. A sacrifice fly and an RBI for Gregor Blanco.
One thing we've always seen, OB, when young players come to the big leagues for the Atlanta Braves, they know how to play the game. Right there, the sacrifice fly. You got a young hitter getting the ball in the air. Blanco with his 7th RBI. But Kelly Johnson on that play, just in case Chavez with his good arm was going to take a chance trying to throw somebody out at home, he too was tagging up, trying to get to second base to take the double play out of order. Take a look at it right here. All right, there's a sac fly. But now everybody does their thing. You know you're going from third to home, from second to third. But look at Johnson. Look at Glenn Hubbard telling him, get back here. You know what? That throw goes towards home plate. Kelly Johnson is going to be standing on second base. They don't make mistakes running the bases, and that's why this team is going to be there all year long. That's a great first base coach right there, and a guy that played the game right.
A pretty fine second baseman in his day with Atlanta. Jurgens, the pitcher, can really put a hurt on the Mets here as he rolls that one foul. He's 0 for 2. Come on, kid. He has grounded out to second and grounded out to short, but he has made contact, hitting 111.
He can swing it. He's a good athlete. He can field his position. He's really good at bunting. And when he puts the ball in play, he hustles down the line. He's got good speed. And you can't forget, this guy came from the minor leagues. He came from the American League with Detroit. He's going to get better swinging that bat.
Runners at first and third, one away. J.Francoeur at third. Kelly Johnson at first.
Talk about production from the heart of the order. 6 runs for the Braves tonight. 2 by Chipper, 2 by Teixeira, 2 by McCann. that's 3, 4, and 5 with 6 runs scored.
See the scoring in this series. And the Braves have really outplayed the Mets in a pretty serious way here through this point in game 3. Pitch out, no play on. 1 ball and 1 strike.
I didn't see that happening at all in this at-bat. Willie Randolph guessing there, trying to do something to spark his team, but at 6-1 with the way Jurgens is throwing, he can swing the bat a little bit.
Feliciano's 1-1, tap back toward the hill. Feliciano glanced at J.Francoeur, gets the out at first. Kelly Johnson moving into second. And that is out number 2. We go to John Saunders for a Sports Center in-game update.
Well, Dave, we've got big news. Brandon Webb has given up a lead. 1-1 game right here. Cody Ross lifts this one out to left field. The Marlins now lead the D-backs 2-1. Webb looking for his 10th straight win, remember.
And the Marlins, a first-place club, a game-and-a-half lead over these Atlanta Braves and over Philadelphia by a game and a half. They've played well at home.
You know, and they've also played well within their division. Florida 12-5 in the National League East this year.
Omar Infante will be walked intentionally here. This will load up the bases to give them a lefty-lefty confrontation. Feliciano and Kotze. Mark Kotze will become the 9th man to bat in this inning after ball 4 to Infante. And most people are not sold on the fact that the Marlins can hang in there because their pitching has not been good, but offensively, especially with Hanley Ramirez, one of the great young talents in the game, they can be scary good. Uggla's terrific. And they're all filled up here with 2 down. Kotze, who homered last night, to dig in. So Kotze in a position where he can bust it wide open now against the Mets with an extra base hit. He's been pretty good in his career with the bases loaded. Nearly 300 and 3 grand slams.
Well, he's been really good this year at home, hitting over 340 at Turner Field.
In for a strike. Kotze seems to have fit in very well here in Atlanta.
Who doesn't fit in with Bobby Cox? I've never seen a player that truly wanted to leave here. The Braves couldn't afford a lot of people. Maddox didn't want to go anywhere.
Sure.
Glavine didn't really want to leave. I mean, the front office had had enough of it.
And Tommy Glavine has come back.
Smoltz has never left. There were always greener pastures for him. Chipper.
Bases are all filled up here with 2 out. Here comes the 0-2 to Kotze. Little check swing roller. Reyes will field it on the move, and the throw, the tag will get him. Side is retired, but Chipper Jones strikes again. The hottest hitter in baseball. He is scalding hot. Give him 398 homers.
Get a Mercury Mariner or Milan with a no-charge moonroof and 6-disc CD changer, only for a limited time. Cabot Wood Stains, our performance is legendary. And Budweiser. Reach for the perfect balance of flavor and refreshment. Budweiser, the great American lager.
Top of the 6th inning underway as Wright rattles that one to Johnson. He's a quick out. David Wright 1 for 3 tonight, 1 away for the Mets, with Beltran marching up to swing next. Mets earlier tonight lost the services of their left fielder Moises Alou, who was battling an ankle thing, a sore ankle, but he had to come out because of a cramp in his calf. It wasn't his left calf. I guess there's always the possibility those things were related, but it was a cramp and not directly that ankle. So maybe good news tonight for Moises Alou. The Mets haven't had a whole lot of good news aimed their way in recent days. Over the last 6 or 7 days, they have been all over the tabloids, all over the back pages of the New York tabloids for Billy Wagner's comments aimed at apparently a couple of teammates, including Carlos Beltran and Carlos Delgado. At least that was the appearance of Billy Wagner's comments. And after a loss to the Nationals last week, he wondered why he, who had not pitched in a game, was being interviewed. Then was reported to have pointed across the clubhouse, generally in the same vicinity where Carlos Beltran and Carlos Delgado dress, and he said, "Oh, I've got it. They're gone." Bleeping shocker. Now, Billy has backed off those comments since then. He's talked it over with his teammates. Apparently there were apologies, and it seems to be in the rearview mirror at this point.
You know, I don't know exactly what happened. I talked to Billy for a long time tonight, and he, like a lot of the Mets, just like to put that behind him. Willie Randolph, let's go on. I made a mistake. But I had a couple of teammates like that, where, you know, they go 3 for 4, 4 for 4. I mean, they're out there with the, you know, the red carpet rolled out for the media, and then all of a sudden an error, or they'd struggle or have a bad game. They're in the trainer's room getting treatment. Now that does not set well with me. You've got to be accountable, and whether you're playing well or whether you're not, you know, the media has a job. If you stand there and you answer their questions, they will be fair to you more times than not. Billy Wagner is right.
Rounds that one up the middle. Beltran on with a base hit. That makes him 1 for 3. Of course, there was evidence of divisiveness in the Met clubhouse last year. Remember Paul LaDuca's comments, but Billy Wagner.
Somebody tell me why the closer's being interviewed and I didn't even play. Why they're over there not getting interviewed? I got it. They're gone. Shocker.
Pretty pointed.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No, I would say if you're a fan of the New York Mets, you're probably on Billy Wagner's side on that one, as that one is fouled away by Marlon Anderson. Now he's tried to, make the peace, and he intercepted Delgado and Beltran the very next day as soon as they came into the clubhouse, and they talked it through, and Carlos Beltran said basically no harm done. I understand what happened there, what was said, but there has been a lot of evidence that that is not the best clubhouse in Major League Baseball going back the last couple of years. Let's go down to Aaron Andrews for more on that story.
And a guy who spent time in this Mets clubhouse for a while and is very good friends is Tom Glavine, and I spoke with him today about Billy Wagner. Billy Wagner faced a lot of criticism in New York about those comments, saying he was a racist for saying what he had said. And Tom Glavine said, no one wants to win more than Billy Wagner. That's the competitive side of him. He was upset about the way things were going, and he wanted guys to be held accountable. Tom Glavine said he heard the criticism that, Wagner was being called a racist, and he said he felt that was completely unfair. And it was he is the furthest thing from that. And by the way, to make light of this situation, Billy Wagner, his young son, said, "Dad, are they just mad at you because you wore that Patriots hat when you said all that?"
Well, he was obviously upset because they had lost 3 out of 4 to the Nationals in the midst of all that. A team they were expecting to handle. Popped up by Anderson for out number 2. Wagner, incidentally, 9 saves, an ERA of 0.00.
Yeah, he's done nothing wrong. And what he said was just how he honestly felt, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I think the thing that the Mets have got to step back and take a look at. You lose tonight. You're 500. This is going wrong. That's wrong. Moises had to come out. Pedro's not with you. El Duque. You know what? You're still 3 games out in the loss column to the Florida Marlins. Come on.
2.5 games off the pace.
Come on. You're not getting buried. You're still right there.
But do you see evidence that this team, which may or may not have clubhouse issues, maybe a lot of clubhouse issues, may have a manager some who believe is on thin ice? given the way the Mets have played to this point. Do you see evidence that they are going to catch fire? They are going to come to life? Or was that the start of a death march, what we saw last September?
I still see them right now as the team to beat. I think they have the most talent by far, and I think everything. I think not only did the National League East turn when they got Santana, but I think maybe even the National League turned a little bit.
Delgado has walked and he is grounded out. He slices this one foul. Beltran, the runner at first base, a 6-1 Atlanta lead. And we'll say this, I think if the Mets are sitting around and waiting for El Duque and Pedro Martinez, and I'm as fond of Pedro as you are, to save the day, I don't think that's going to happen.
Well, El Duque hasn't even been around. I mean, I think he's still in Florida.
Up and away for a ball to count 2-2. There's John Maine.
John Maine's solid. I'll take him. Oliver Perez, I'll take him. You know, when you look at that rotation, you know, you got to question some of the things that they've done now. You saw where Kazmir got locked up. Used to be a Met. Brian Bannister. Big year for the Royals. Used to be a Met. You see Heath Bell. You know,
pitching, yeah.
You got Perez, that's great, but you know what? You lost Xavier Nady. He's among the. I mean, there's some moves that have been questioned, and you know that the Santana trade. I mean, down the line, they gave up a lot of young prospects. Gomez, the outfielder, Humber, the pitcher.
3-2 with a runner on the move and a high fly ball, but not terribly deep into right. Francoeur plenty of time. And that will do it.
It's just in. This Jurgens, he's pretty good.
Looking very sharp and getting some help from Chipper, has already homered and scored twice tonight.
This one's got everything going for it. The Mercury Mariner.
And if you come in now, you'll get a no-charge moonroof, 6-disc CD changer, and Sirius satellite radio.
Large moonroof and 6-disc CD changer, only for a limited time. Cabot wood stains. Our performance is legendary. And Budweiser. Reach for the perfect balance of flavor and refreshment. Budweiser, the great American lager.
Last of the 6th inning coming up from Turner Field in Atlanta. The Braves on top 6-1 over the reeling New York Mets. Rick Sutcliffe, Dave O'Brien, and Aaron Andrews with you. Indeed, I said Rick Sutcliffe has joined us in the booth here on the 21st of May. We've been waiting since opening day, actually all the way back to spring training, to welcome Mr. Sutcliffe back to where he belongs, right here. Great to see you, Parge. You look fantastic. I know everyone's been saying that to you. You've gone through chemotherapy and radiation treatment and everything else. You're not supposed to look this good.
You know, I thought it was going to be a big day until John Lester stole all of my thunder Monday night.
How dare he do that? Go out and throw a no-hitter.
You know, I got to admit, I mean, OB, you were there. I mean, you had to call. You saw it. I mean, I'm balling like a baby, man. Just, you know, I've obviously got a pretty good idea of what he went through. Obviously not nowhere near the recovery, you know, that he's got. I've got surgery coming up, and he was able to avoid that. But just what an inspiration to watch that young man go out there and perform at that level against the best baseball players in the world. And just everybody's sitting at home that we've all, everybody's family has heard the word cancer, and just to know, I mean, look at what he did, you know. And
what a story. I mean, winning Game 4, the World Series, the winning pitcher for the Red Sox in a World Series game, and then right on the heels of essentially Clay Buchholz throwing a no-hitter last year in the fall, he becomes the second straight Red Sox pitcher to throw a no-hitter.
And I just, it makes me think about the Red Sox too, and how they're just absolutely ruining baseball. I mean, oh boy.
There's another one maybe for Chipper. Did he get it all? No. This one very high and will be caught by Beltran. Well, Chipper had homered back in the 5th inning, just missed another one.
OB, for 7 straight years, Major League Baseball had a different World Series champion until the Red Sox last year. I mean, you think about what they're doing. I go back to 2004 when they won the World Series, and I'm standing there with Theo Epstein, and he starts talking about, we got to rebuild the farm system. We got to get to work on that tomorrow.
Like that very moment they had won the World Series. Yeah.
Theo, you just did something with the Red Sox that they've been waiting forever to happen. And I'll never forget him saying that. And all of a sudden now, OB, I mean, you look at what happened last year during the World Series. That farm system, all of a sudden you got Lester on the mound, you got Pedroia at second, you got Ellsbury in the outfield, Buchholz. This is what he went to work on, and this is the reason that team has been so good for so many years now and will be.
By the way, Aaron Andrews with the Sunday conversation this week with John Lester. She's heading on out.
Is that right?
Yep. Talk with him about that incredible moment.
You know what? I'll never forget the special she did on his comeback. I mean, that was a tearjerker.
McCann has doubled in 2. He's also flying to center and taken ball 4. A 6-1 Braves lead here in the 6th inning. And behind Jurgens, they're making it look easy tonight against the Mets.
Where is Aaron now?
No, she's somewhere in the ballpark
We
tonight.
got a report on Moises and his cramps, and then that's it. Yeah, on camera. Hello.
Hello. By the way, can I add something on John Lester?
Sure.
Matt Diaz with the Braves is renting Lester's house here in Atlanta. I asked, any good vibes, maybe fun packages being sent, after the no-hitter. He said, well, the bad news is I'm still paying rent to John Lester, even though he threw a no-hitter and won a World Series. And he said the good news, and still bad news for Matt Diaz, he said no hits in that house.
No.
John Lester's didn't give up any hits, and Matt Diaz doesn't have any.
Yeah.
So
There wouldn't be any hits in that house. I would guarantee. Maybe he'll bring that ring and leave it behind. A World Series ring. 2 balls, 2 strikes on McCann.
How about Veritek? 4 no-hitters now he's got.
That's the record.
First catcher in the history of baseball.
More than Yogi Berra. Bartolo Colon getting the start tonight for the Boston Red Sox, making his 2008 debut. We'll find out how that is going shortly. 6 runs on 8 hits for Atlanta. 1 run, just 4 hits for the Mets. This part of the order has done all the damage too, and so far Feliciano's made it look pretty quick. You got Chipper Jones on a fly out, got Teixeira on the ground out. Now the 3-2 to McCann. Now these are the guys who've really beaten up the Mets tonight. Ground ball, diving effort by Wright. He can't come up with it. And McCann is on for the 3rd time. He is 2 for 3 with a walk. Let's go to John Saunders now, Sports Center in-game update for more on Bartolo Colon.
Well, you mentioned Colon. He obviously could be a huge X factor.
Through 100 miles an hour. Injuries have cut that down as this one is tagged to center field off the bat of Francoeur, and this one is going to be out of here. A home run for Jeff Francoeur, who is having himself a big night. This is a 2-run shot. He's now driven in 4 tonight. And the Braves are breaking this one open here in the 6th inning. They lead it 8-1.
Bobby Cox has got a lot of things to feel good about tonight. First of all, it's his birthday, number 67. But second of all, the one decision he had on the lineup when he got to park tonight, he gave Francoeur the night off last night, ending the streak. And he said, you know what, if I give him 1 more, he'll be good to go. Well, he changed his mind. He said, you know what, I can't do that to the kid. He's got to play tonight, and look at how he has performed. I mean, he's a double shy of the cycle.
And this is all after getting drilled by a pitch very painfully on the elbow in his first at bat. Since then, a triple, a single, and now a 2-run shot for Francoeur. He's going to have that chance to hit for the cycle tonight.
Look at this, boy. Right down the heart of the plate, elevated. That elbow's feeling a lot better as we speak.
Kelly Johnson with the bases now empty and 2 down. 8-1 the Braves. What a sound.
He knew it. Even though it got a little yellow paint on it as it went over.
Former President Jimmy Carter. President Carter is here tonight, and a big Braves fan. He has been for a long time. Chop to the right side. Delgado to feed the pitcher Feliciano for out number 3. But Francoeur's having himself quite a night. So is the president. 8-1 Atlanta. That was It's Not My Time, the brand new single off the upcoming self-titled album by Three Doors Down.
Do that.
8-1 Atlanta. Francoeur with a double will hit for the cycle. Atlanta hasn't had anyone hit for the cycle since 1987. Brian Schneider to lead things off here on top of the 7th. 8-1 the Braves in command. Jair Jurgens, who's been very, very good tonight. He's allowed only 4 hits and 1 run.
Strike one. You've said that many, many times tonight. Really one spot where he had to dig deep and come up with a big out. Second inning after the error by Johnson, he got the strikeout. He has really cruised since then.
Little bounding ball, a nice hop backhanded by Chipper Jones for the out. Schneider is 0 for 3. Jurgens getting that first man very quickly here in the 7th inning. Now he'll square off against Luis Castillo. Castillo has gone 0 for 2. Time for our pitching summary. And here in Atlanta tonight, presented by Scott's. Pelfrey went only 4 innings as he gave up 6 runs officially on 8 hits.
But you take a look there at Jurgens. The only strikeout he's got was the one he needed with Castillo up and men on second and third, 1 out in the 2nd inning. He has pitched to contact. He has taken 2 pitches, a fastball and a changeup. He's moved them to different sides of the plate. He's changed speeds with them. And I mean, he might have thrown 3 breaking balls all night long. 2 of them were to Pelfrey, the opposing pitcher. But when you can command that fastball, you can change speeds, you can mix in a changeup when you're behind. It's fun to play defense behind.
And again, only 22 years old. He pitches like he's more like 27 or 28.
He really does. I mean, take a look there. Look at the ground ball outs, and you see the repeated delivery with that changeup. John Smoltz told me before the game he's 4 and 3 coming into play tonight. He could very easily be 8 and 1.
By the way, Smoltz trying to make his way back from that inflamed shoulder. Said after a bullpen session that he's not going to be talking about making any more statements about his progress because some of those statements he has made have been mischaracterized and made it sound as if he's had a setback. This is John earlier, though, working in the bullpen about 5:30 today.
Give him 2 more days, and I would not be surprised at all if they did not activate him, because when you look at everything Bobby Cox has got in his bullpen, you got Ring, you got Ullman, Acosta, Boyer, Reese, Stockman, Bennett. you think he doesn't want to throw a Smoltz out there?
Infante to be tested, bounces the throw, and Teixeira can't dig it. Castillo will be safe on a base hit. As we go back to John Saunders for Sports Center in-game update.
And from the usual place you expect power, Ryan Howard of the Phillies. Little question as he steps back to admire that one a little bit back deep in right center field. And then Howard again. And again, this one is gone. Again, with a little look at it. Phillies with a 12-0 lead for Jamie Moyer.
When he's going good, talking about Ryan Howard, he makes it look easy.
Well, as long as the calendar doesn't say April, he's usually going pretty good.
That bat explodes. Jones had a lot of trouble with that bat flying off behind him.
You know what? They're going to give him an error on that, but I don't agree with it. Take a look at that bat. That's a sword that is flying in the air. That could do a lot of damage. And you know where that bat comes down? It comes down right where Chipper Jones started defensively. This is an unfair error right here. I know the commissioner is looking into the baseball bats and what we can do about it. But take a look at where that bat lands. Chipper knows that that ball's in, that bat's in the air. The ball's on the ground, but heck with that. We've got an 8-1 lead. That bat might be coming at my head.
Well, he is charged with an error on that exploding bat. Tatis.
Watch where the bat lands. Look where Chipper started. He doesn't know where that bat's going to end up. We do. We're sitting here up there. All right, you're okay. You're clear. But he did not know that. That's as tough an error as you're ever going to see.
Well, quite understandable. Reyes is 2 for 2. He's also taken a walk. He's stolen 2 bases. When you're reaching down to field a ground ball and you have no idea where the business end of the bat is, it might very well come down on top of your head, and not necessarily on the friendly end, if there is such a thing. Could be the sharp end. We've seen pitchers get hit by flying busted bats, and I believe it was Javier Vasquez several years ago who actually got stabbed by one. Got him in the midsection and stuck there.
Yeah.
Opened up a cut.
Those bats are doing that more and more. And you know what? I don't worry so much about the players. I mean, they're supposed to be paying attention to the game. I worry about the kids. I mean, these ballparks are getting closer and closer to the field. I worry about those bats when they go into the stands. I mean, at least as a player, you got a glove or you can move or whatever. Fans in the stand, they're sitting there. There's nowhere to go.
Well, my question is, as Reyes takes a strike, is it the maple? Is it the kind of wood that's being used, or is it the fact that these bats are being lacquered the way they are?
And double lacquered.
And double lacquered.
Sometimes triple lacquered. You take the lighter wood, you put the lacquer on it, and it's almost like it's an aluminum bat. It's light and it's got the hard finish. I do know one thing. The commissioner is looking into that. He's talked about it, and you know, sooner better than later.
3-2 the count on Reyes. Runners at first and second. The Mets trying to climb back into this thing against Jurgens here in the 7th. Of course, Reyes almost impossible to double up. We'll see. Johnson to Infante on the first base, and they throw it away. That's going to cost a run. Castillo is in to score. Reyes scampers into second. Now you're trying so hard to double up Reyes there that you make a bad throw. And that makes it 8-2. So the Mets are within 6.
Well, and you know what? You're not the everyday shortstop either. Escobar is normally that guy. Infante's solid. He's been there. But if you miss M.Teixeira at first base on a throw like that, you've made a bad throw. That's an error that you deserve.
3rd error of the ball game for Atlanta. No RBI on that. Fielder's choice. The Reyes did advance to second base on the throw. So a long conference out here on the mound now for Jurgens, a runner on at second base. Hey, Sunday Night Baseball is presented by Taco Bell and ESPN at 8 Eastern. Coming to you from the Windy City, it's the Angels against the White Sox. Coverage begins with baseball tonight, driven by Chevy at 7 o'clock Eastern Time. That's John Lackey against Jose Contreras. Contreras going in 5-3, and Lackey is 1-0. Here's Andy Chavez, who tonight has gone 0 for 3. He's made a wonderful catch in right, but he's also made an error. His first of the season. The Brave lead is 8-2. And on a big swing and a pop-up, is there room for McCann? Not much here in Atlanta behind home plate at all.
Partner, I know you noticed. How about who's leading the National League as a team in ERA? The Atlanta Braves.
Just like the old days.
I mentioned all the guys' names in their bullpen. There's not a household name down there. There's not a true closer. Roger McDowell has done a tremendous job. Take a look at the numbers. The opponent's average, the home runs allowed. Now, granted, this team plays good defense. That's going to help your pitching staff. But he's put together a lot of people that throw strikes.
Pop to right. Francoeur with a lengthy romp. It looks like he'll get there. He does along the line, and the side is retired. Castillo scored. Nobody followed him. We're in the middle of the 7th. 8-2 Atlanta.
Hurry it now for
Presented by Goodyear and from Turner Field in Atlanta. It's been all Braves tonight. They have an 8-2 lead And we'll come up to bat here 8-9-1 in the bottom half of the 7th inning against a new pitcher. And take a look at that line score. Francoeur, if he doubles in his next at bat, he's going to hit for the cycle. Will be the first Brave to do that since Albert Hall in 1987. Joe Smith about to make his 21st appearance, and Suddy's been very solid with a 2.55 ERA.
Really has. He's another one of those guys that throws a lot of strikes. He's durable. Already 21 appearances for him here in just the early going for the New York Mets.
He becomes the 3rd pitcher to work for Willie Randolph tonight. Gregor Blanco, the left fielder, has gone 0 for 2, but did pick up an RBI with a sac fly in the 5th inning. The Braves scored 3 times in that frame and also had a Chipper Jones home run in that inning. J.Francoeur has also cracked a home run. So life is good in this series for Atlanta. They're going for their 3rd straight win over the Mets in this series.
OB, what's so good about the Atlanta Braves offensively is their balance. Now, granted, I mean, there's talent, you know, throughout that. Francoeur and what he's done, Chipper. But there's 7 guys in their lineups through the first 39 games that had scored 20 or more runs. That's balance. And now you've already got 7 guys that have 20 or more RBIs. You're getting production from top to bottom.
Now they have a very big series coming up with Arizona coming in here for 4 games, which might be a great early test for both teams, particularly the way McCann and Chipper Jones are swinging the bats, and Francoeur here tonight. Arizona with that outstanding pitching staff, they'll have their hands full.
I just think about Atlanta and Bobby Cox with that outstanding coaching staff. Terry Pendleton, what a job he has done. You think Andrew Jones doesn't miss him a little bit? I mean, he came up with the spread out stance. Andrew started hitting 40 home runs. Bobby Cox, I mean, he just, you know what, he does what he has to do, and he'll go out and fight for his player like no manager ever. But Mark Kotze, I mean, he's just been here. He's only been here 6 weeks and already talking about Bobby Cox is the best manager he ever played for. That's quite a compliment. And you know what, Kotze is legit. He means what he says.
It's been heard before. Blanco trying to put a charge into this one, but Beltran with some room will track it down. 1 gone in the Atlanta 7th inning. They're going to bring up a pinch batter now for Jurgens. It'll be Greg Norton. So the starter's night is done. And the youngster pitched very, very well through 7 innings, allowing 5 hits and a couple of runs. In line for the victory, which would move him to 5-3. Just 1 earned run against Jurgens. Norton hitting just 176, no homers and 3 runs batted in. Kind of crowds that plate. He checks and it's inside for ball 1.
Obi, we've talked about Pelfrey and how the Mets, in my opinion, they rushed him to the big leagues. They made a mistake there. But when you look at Jurgens and what the Detroit Tigers did with him, Tim Hudson, the same kind of thing with Oakland, you know, getting his feet on the ground at the minor league level. Back in 04, Jurgens with Detroit was their 22nd best prospect. In 05, he's the 16th best. All of a sudden in 04, he's the 4th. You know what? And then all of a sudden, I mean, every year he just keeps getting better and better. And then in 07, he goes from AA to the big leagues, gets a little taste of it, gets traded for Edgar Renteria. Well, when you see that, you know somebody wants you. They give up that kind of talent. And the next thing you know, I mean, the guy's picking up his 5th win at the big league level. We're still in the month of May. He got a chance to have a good one for a long time.
Jurgens seems like a great example of a guy who pitches to contact, doesn't feel like he has to strike everybody out. Only struck out 1 batter through 7 innings, but a very clean performance. There are a couple of situations where he got into trouble and pitched out of it.
One time he had to reach back, finding a good fastball, and he did that. And after the 3 runs in the bottom of the 3rd, what I loved was just how he put it in cruise control. Just working from side to side. He got a little bit of trouble there in the 7th. He gave up the run. Roger McDowell comes to the mound. He gets out of it. He's done.
Norton takes a walk as we go back to John Saunders in the studio for the Sports Center right now.
Well, to let you know that Manchester United beat Chelsea 6-5 in a penalty shootout to win the European Champions League title Wednesday night. following a 1-1 tie. First final between the two English teams. Manchester United, his third Champions League title. And Jason Taylor and Bill Parcells still not seeing eye to eye. Taylor looks like he's not going to show up for training camp. He's likely done as a member of the Dolphins. Dave.
Thanks, John. It was a great match today in Moscow for the Champions League.
Tell you what, it was exciting stuff watching everybody talk about it before the game. They had 4 guys. I don't know who anybody was, but I mean, I ended up watching it for a half hour just because it was entertaining and talking about.
Erin Andrews, by the way, has heard of Cristiano Ronaldo, and I think may even have a poster somewhere in her home. So I'm pretty sure it's a safe bet. She's become a big fan.
Obi, you're our soccer guy. You're Mr. World Cup.
I think I'm becoming Mrs. World Cup, though. I'll be honest with you.
You're really getting into it. Little bounding ball
excitement.
foul. Well, today was great. I mean,
tell me about the Gators and their soccer program. I guess they're good at that too, huh?
The women's they were fantastic. They won the national championship in '96, if you will.
Should have known. Yeah.
Questioning her soccer knowledge?
No, just
not going to happen.
Gators.
Runner on at first and 1 man out for Omar Infante. Ronaldo missed a big kick today. I still think he'll be Aaron's favorite as that one is inside. Mark Kotze to hit next. Atlanta with a couple of crooked numbers in the 3rd and again in the 5th.
What was your favorite town or country with all that traveling you did?
Well, just the World Cup. The entire World Cup, of course, was in Germany. I loved Hamburg.
Did you?
Frankfurt, Munich, Berlin. Berlin is just a magical place. Olympiastadion, where the final was just incredible, almost like a time warp.
Obviously, the weather was perfect.
There.
I mean, they picked the best time they can, I'm sure.
It was unlike anything I've ever seen in my lifetime, or will ever see again, I think.
You know, that makes me think of, I was talking with Moises Alou before the game, the World Cup, talking about the World Baseball Classic. And he was talking about his father, Felipe, has been chosen to manage the Dominican Republic team.
What a great honor for him.
That really is.
Runner goes, the pitch is high, and that's ball 4. So Infante will take the walk here for the 2nd time. Atlanta looking for some more runs. 1st and 2nd here with 1 down. Felipe Alou he was a lot of fun to watch manage when he was managing in the big leagues because he was so creative, great instincts, and did more with less than maybe any other manager in the game when he was managing the Expos.
I agree.
Here comes Willie Randolph with Kotze, the left-hand hitter, about to step in. Only 1 man out, and Atlanta on top by 6 here. We're going to take a break. A pitching change for the New York Mets. They're going to bring on their 4th pitcher of the night.
It was terrifying.
Yeah, the bike had just vanished, and we were stuck out here.
1 hour later, Tim and Jesse's bike was recovered thanks to LoJack, the only vehicle recovery system used by police. LoJack, the most successful theft recovery system on Earth.
Check this out. Click. I just bought a stock on the exchange in Hong Kong. Hong Kong. That's China.
Trade stocks online in 6 global markets. There are 1,000 new accounts a day at E-Trade.
Prevent shaving irritation with new Nivea Extreme Comfort Shaving Gel. Using microtechnology, natural ingredients penetrate skin and hair quickly. The result? A shave so comfortable you can't get enough. New Extreme Comfort Shaving Gel and Balm. Nivea for men. What men want.
What's your equation for keeping healthy?
I'm a chin-upping, baseball-playing, gotta-take-care-of-me, one-a-day man.
One-a-day men's. The only complete multivitamin with more selenium for prostate health.
It fits my equation better. The winner of Europe's SUV of the year with 200 turbocharged horses.
You done? The all-new Volkswagen Tiguan. Bet, Europe's SUV of the year? You're so compact, you're practically my size.
Europeans are crazy.
Technically, I'm European.
Exactly.
Woo! Wait, I had a clever comeback.
Our game track presented by Toyota. 3 runs, 3 hits in the 3rd for Atlanta. That was a key play. A little bobble there by Castillo. And here into the bottom half of the 7th inning, Atlanta on top 8-2. Francoeur's had a night. 4 RBIs. He is a double shy of the cycle. Chipper Jones with a solo home run in the 5th inning after walking twice. He finally got something to swing at. Francoeur back at it again. He is still in the ball game, so that cycle very much a possibility here at Turner Field. Toyota game track 8-2. Jurgens went the first 7. He can pick up the win. Only walked 2 men. You see, Atlanta's 3, 4, 5, and 6 men have done a ton of damage tonight.
They really have, boy. You look at all of the runs scored. Jurgens right there in the middle of it, just enjoying that. Not a whole lot going on for the New York Mets.
Not a lot, and now they'll bring on a left-hander and Scott Schoenweiss to do battle with Mark Hotze with 1 out and runners at first and second. The numbers on Schoenweiss have been very impressive. The ERA of 1.20. Opponent sitting just 2.16 off of him. The Mets in need of a double play ball here. A swing and a miss for strike 1. The runners will hold. Now the Braves swept a doubleheader yesterday from the Mets here. And the Braves are trying to make it 4 consecutive wins overall. The Mets are a 4th place team, trying to come back so as not to lose their 3rd in a row overall. That's in for a strike.
Well, and they're in pretty good shape tomorrow night. I know Hudson's going for the Braves and they've got the momentum, but Willie Randolph knows that he's got Santana going tomorrow night. They've won 6 of 8 of Johan Santana's starts, including the last 5 straights. Tim Hudson knows that as well. But what Santana does for you is that you talked about all the relievers that Willie Randolph's used tonight. Well, you go ahead. You're not going to need them. You don't need your setup guys when you've got that guy going for you the next day. That's why I've said many times, a #1 starting pitcher like him, like a Jake Peavy, I mean, they help you win 3 out of every 5 games. They give you the bullpen to do what you want with tonight.
Fly to center field, but not deep. Beltran trots in. 2 down.
Then all of a sudden they take the hill and they do what they're supposed to do. Well, what happened the day after they pitch, OB? We've talked about it many times. That bullpen is fresh. Nobody's pitched until they're ready to go again.
Well, you've been that guy in your career. You've been that #1 that everyone kind of leaned on. And you have to feel that. I mean, Santana knows things are not going well for the Mets. There's been all this controversy, all this negative controversy floating around the clubhouse and on the sports pages, and he goes tomorrow as the shutdown guy. That's his job.
I don't think he expected all of this,
Chipper Jones, that it hit him on the foot. Chipper goes running out of there, and it did indeed hit him. He's going to have to take his base here in some pain. Chipper clubbed a long home run back in the 5th inning.
Remember when we talked about them moving the feet of Reyes? That ball got him good. There's no reason for him to continue playing here. He's going to want to. Him and Bobby, they've argued many times about things like this. Come on, get out of here. Go get some ice on it. We're going to need you tomorrow night against Santana.
Boy, the fans are venting here in Atlanta. And Scott Schoenweiss and the Mets for drilling Chipper Jones. That'll load up the bases, but they're going to have to bring on a runner for him. Chipper heading down that tunnel.
Wow. That's a good one. I mean, it's by design. There's no question. Schoenweiss is a veteran. Chipper's got nowhere to go. He moved both of his feet, but he couldn't get them far enough away. And I mean, that ball, that caught him, and that's going to be sore for 2 weeks. They almost knocked the tooth out trying to flip the bat.
Ruben Gotay will run for him at first. The bases loaded, 2 down, and the fans still giving Schoenweiss the business, as the top hitter in baseball has been knocked out of the game, drilled on the leg by a pitch. And Chipper had no shot to get out of the way of that one. Well, here's Teixeira. He can hurt back. 269 with 5 homers. He has a single and a double tonight. 8-2 Atlanta in the 7th. Atlanta's had 19 base runners tonight. And here's another one down the line. Norton is in, and Conte is in. Here comes Gotay rounding third. He's going to score standing up. That's a bases-loaded double. Well, you bruised Chipper Jones, and M.Teixeira is going to bruise you right back. Atlanta on top 11-2.
And how about how all three of those guys got on base that just scored? The walk, and then Chipper being hit by a pitch. Basically just giving him the bases loaded. And Teixeira says, you know what, I'll gladly take that. Oh, rip from the right side down into the left field corner, just like he did from the left side down into the right field corner early tonight. That man is an offensive machine.
His third hit gave him 3 RBIs on that swing. And here's Brian McCann, flared down deep into the corner, but foul.
You know, this is a situation, OB, for me, where you got to find some gray area. Teixeira's a free agent at the end of the year. He came over at the deadline last year from Texas. This is where he needs to stay, and this is a team that needs to find a way to lock him up. Will there be more money? Will the Mets be interested in him next year? Will the Yankees be interested? Yeah, there will be more money. You know what? We've seen a lot of guys go for more money and it not work out. This is where M.Teixeira needs to stay.
And where he wants to be.
It's where he wants, and there's no reason not to get this thing over with. And you don't, if you're M.Teixeira and he's a great guy, you don't look for top dollar. You don't have to have top dollar. I mean, you just get something that'll keep you comfortable in your family and stay right here where they're going to love you. Because, you know, you look at his average. Let's say he would have been a free agent this year and went somewhere for top dollar, and all of a sudden you're hitting 260 coming into play tonight. You hear those boos?
Little topper could be trouble. A shovel by Castillo. It's dropped there by Delgado. Teixeira down to third. McCann racing up the first base line. Castillo tried to shovel that out of the glove. Delgado did not pick it up.
He did all he could do. Castillo did a great job. All Delgado's got to do is let it roll into his glove. You don't have to swipe at it. Take a look at it. This is an out. It's a catcher. There it is. Just pick it up. You don't have to swipe it with that big swing. All you got to do is let it roll into your glove, squeeze it, and the inning is over. Look at the pull and all of that. That's got to be an E3. That's not a tough play at all.
Ruled a base hit.
Well, they love McCann, and I do too. I'm happy for him.
Well, here comes Francoeur, and with a double here, he hits for the cycle. Runners at first and third with 2 away, and he takes a strike.
No, he didn't.
He did.
He took a first pitch.
He took a first pitch strike. 3 for 3, triple, single, home run. But it's got to be on his mind, Rick, right here. It's got to be. It's happened so infrequently in Braves history.
I don't. We know Frenchie. Aaron, what's on his mind right now? You never know with Francoeur.
Honestly, the last thing Frenchie told me before we left the clubhouse is he's excited to grow his hair out to have a mullet like Tom Glavine. So I don't know if he's thinking double.
Little blooper caught out of the air by Castillo. Well, it won't happen here. Before Albert Hall's cycle in 1987, the Braves had not had one since 1910. I bet Jeff knows that.
You know, we're similar to NASCAR drivers.
How's that?
Their tires say Goodyear. Our blimp says Goodyear. They go 185 miles an hour.
We're going 35.
It goes faster.
There's Goodyear innovation at the racetrack and at your Goodyear retailer. Now get up to a $50 mail-in rebate with the purchase of 4 select Goodyear tires, or double your rebate up to $100 when purchased on the Goodyear credit card.
And 36, pedal to the metal.
Goodyear, get there.
Prevent shaving irritation with new Nivea Extreme Comfort Shaving Gel. Using microtechnology, natural ingredients penetrate skin and hair quickly. The result? A shave so comfortable you can't get enough. New Extreme Comfort Shaving Gel and Balm. Nivea for men. What men want.
There are 6 billion of us. We don't always agree. But for a few shining weeks, we set it all aside. We come together. We forget all the things that make us different, and remember all the things that make us the same. Visa, proud sponsor of the Olympic Games, and the only card accepted there.
So much good can come from a game. When I was younger, I was part of RBI, driving baseball in inner cities. It brings kids together, builds confidence, and creates opportunity. And a great program. Major League Baseball proudly supports RBI.
1, 2, 3, RBI!
ESPN Wednesday Night Baseball is presented by Goodyear. Innovative technology to help you get there. And in part by new Smirnoff cocktails. The perfectly mixed mojito comes home. And Nivea for Men. What men want.
Well, the New York Mets are setting an unofficial record for glove tossing tonight.
Do you add that to the pitch count? I mean, that's a glove and a hat.
Yeah.
There's a towel. That's 3 more.
David Wright starting off the 8th inning, and the effort by Gotay off his glove. It rolls into left field, and Wright will have a base hit. He is now 2 for 4. As we go to John Saunders for Sports Center in-game update.
Well, it's been a week of home runs that weren't. Delgado had one for the Yankees, or rather against the Yankees. Soto had an inside the park home run that should have been a home run, and that's A-Rod right there. Watch on the replay where it hits up on the stairs. That's a home run. Doesn't matter. Yankees up 8-0.
I think Alex Rodriguez would love to have them take another look at that. Obviously, replay not used in Major League Baseball. Do you think, given the slew of plays lately?
Yeah, let's go.
You think it's about time?
Yeah, there's too many things going on that are pointing in that direction.
Delgado on Sunday had one taken away. So it's the 3rd time in 4 days in Major League Baseball that's happened.
Well, you know, another thing that they might look at when we're talking about all of this, what about like during the playoffs? Or they put 2 more out there on the field down the lines to try to help.
I think you might be onto something for postseason play.
But you know what? We've seen it during the postseason.
Yes.
Where it's been messed up, even with the help. I don't know.
Beltran driving this one to the corner out of the reach of Blanco. That's going to go to the wall. Wright is into third. They're going to wave him in. The carom comes back to Blanco, but Wright will score standing up. That makes it 11-3. Now, Carlos Beltran deprived of an apparent 5th inning home run on April 2nd. The original call was overruled, seemingly in error. Beltran apparently should have had one when replay showed his long fly right center field. The 5th inning hit the telltale yellow line at the top of the wall. Rick Reed, closest to the play, agreed, yet he was overruled by the other umpires. Beltran here with an RBI double to chase in Wright. Brings up Marlon Anderson.
You know, they talk about the time, O.B., that it would take, you know, to have a replay. Well, they get together and take a lot of time anyway. I think there needs to be a criteria on, you know, what are we looking at? I mean, if, you know, here we are, 11-3. The replay guy can go home now. We're not going to need that. But we are getting to the point where it's going to maybe affect the outcome of a game. And, you know, I mean, why not? The resources are available, obviously. There's no problem with bringing another guy in wherever you want to put him. What do you think?
I like the idea of an additional umpire. I mean, for the whole game, for all home runs that are debated. I think that would be a great idea to have an additional umpire in the booth. He's a replay guy. Maybe he has to come to a decision within a very short period of time. Shouldn't be that difficult. In most cases, it's pretty easy to see if the umpires on the field missed the call.
Well, I agree. And you think about like right now. I mean, you look at Billy Miller out there at second base, the umpire. He's watching the runner at second. Now, what if there's a line shot hit? We know it takes no time to get to center field, and it hits off the top of the wall or beyond.
Anderson topped that one. Teixeira will touch the base to get the out. Beltran down to third.
How is he going to get all the way out there? I mean, there's no chance. He could barely get to the outfield grass before the ball would hit the center field wall or beyond, and he'd have to make that decision. That's a tough call. You know, they've been doing it for a long time, but we got the opportunity now to get him some help. Let's just get the call right. I mean, I know every umpire tries to do that. I give them credit for that. But if they're having trouble getting them right, let's add one more guy.
What you don't like to see, what I don't like to see as a fan, is an umpire who is way back, the home plate umpire, overruling an umpire on the bases who is closer to the home run.
Well, that's what happened at Yankee Stadium.
Right.
And the one thing I have always heard is that if you're going to overrule a guy, you better be sure. And that's where Bob Davidson was absolutely wrong.
He admitted it. He said later, I know I blew that one. You wonder if you might be able to put an audio signal maybe on the top of that yellow line, on those foul poles and everything. Maybe that could work.
Well, what we do, if it's, close, we just send Aaron out.
Yes.
Go find out what happened.
Is there a yellow spot on that ball or a black spot or something? Delgado's gone 0 for 2. He's also taken ball 4. He has a runner at third and 1 away. 11-3 Atlanta in firm control of this one in the 8th inning. Jair Jurgens pitched very well, the young right-hander for Bobby Cox, going 7 innings.
He set the tone right off the bat, OB. He was rolling until you said that he had 8 consecutive strikes. That was the first ball he threw. But by then he had a couple outs. Pitched to contact all night long. On my count, there were only 3 outs recorded by the outfield. One of them was the last pitch that he threw. I mean, that's getting it done.
On the ground contact as well, fouled away by Delgado. The Braves really held in check last year. He batted just .220 with a couple of home runs. That's against a division opponent. And Billy Wagner in an 11-3 game, but wants to get some working in that pen. They have Santana going tomorrow. Up high for a ball. They count 2-2.
Tell you what, that looked like a little bit more than just work for Billy Wagner, didn't it?
Yeah. Maybe getting ready to come on in.
Getting after it pretty good there.
The Mets closer, who has really been good when he's gotten a chance to get in games. He's been outstanding. Crack to the right side. Teixeira down for it. That'll get in a run. The ground out by Delgado will get Beltran in. That'll make it 11-4. Well, Boys and Girls Clubs of America is the official charity of Major League Baseball, reaching over 4 million kids worldwide. Together, they create a positive place for kids.
They sure do. One of the things, OB, through the treatment and stuff that I've gone through, the 2 words success and significant have come up. Being significant. Well, the Boys and Girls Club, what they do is significant. That's neat stuff.
Brian Schneider tonight 0 for 3. The Mets catcher has been one of the best throwing catchers really in Major League Baseball over the last 7 years. He's at 35% caught stealing right now. Led the league in that category a couple of times, although he's done it quietly without a whole lot of fanfare with the Expos and the Nationals.
He's one of those guys that has always battled. I mean, he and Joe Mauer last year with more base on balls than strikeouts for catchers. Think about all the other things that they go through. I mean, here he is working the count again. Like you said earlier, this was a big deal that Omar Minaya was able to pull off for the New York Mets.
No, we haven't seen Ryan Church tonight, the other big piece of that trade, which came to the Mets in the Lastings Millage trade. But Church has been probably their most consistent hitter. He's out tonight with a mild concussion suffered in yesterday's doubleheader.
I tell you what, we saw that play earlier. To me, it just looked like a dumb play on his part. But there were several Braves before the game that took exception to that.
3-1 loop foul on a play to the left. And Church certainly got the worst of it. Escobar's knee got tagged pretty good too.
Well, and then the scary part was Church's head just bouncing off the ground. I mean, you could tell right then he was out.
Base is empty, 2 out. And the 3-2 to Schneider. Roll to the right side, and there's Johnson with the stop from short right. Side retired. The Mets grab a couple of more runs, but they're still a long ways off here. It's 11-4 Atlanta. Going to the bottom of the 8th.
The Indianapolis 500. Coverage begins Sunday at noon Eastern on ABC.
If you set out to deliberately exterminate mankind, you couldn't do better than Andromeda.
Loctite Power Grab grabs instantly, with 9 times higher initial hold than the leading brand. Without bracing, and without hammering. Loctite Power Grab. Project solved.
Here at our remote test facility, we put the Nissan Altima through over 5,000 extreme tests to help ensure long-lasting quality and durability through whatever the world throws at it. The Nissan Altima, made to drive, built to last.
Bring the beautiful, durable colors of nature home. Valspar, the beauty goes on.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Office of the Commissioner of Baseball and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent.
Thursday night, the NBA playoffs and the Eastern Conference Finals continue. Game 2 on ESPN. Chauncey Billups and Detroit taking on Kevin Garnett and the Boston Celtics. The NBA playoffs on ESPN Thursday at 8:30 Eastern. Your destination for the NBA playoffs. Celtics taking game 1, 88-79, their 15th consecutive home win. Well, here's our line score. Look at Atlanta, 23 runs in the series and counting, with another game to follow tomorrow. 11-4 the Braves with a big lead. They have out-hit the Mets 12-7. And you mentioned, didn't look like Wagner was just getting a little throwing in the bullpen. A little more intent than that, and here he comes.
He was really getting after it down there, and a situation like this, a lot of closers don't want anything to do with this game. They've already mentally shut it down, but Billy Wagner back out there for the 17th time this year.
He has not pitched since Saturday, so he needs the work. But does he ask for that? Does he
absolutely
get the word to Willie Randolph, I need to get in?
Totally comes from him.
Kelly Johnson leading off the inning by flying this one into shallow left center. Long run in for Beltran. It's going to drop in for a base hit. And Johnson has his second hit of the ball game. That's how the home half of the 8th inning gets started for Atlanta. Just a little flare off the hard-throwing left-hander.
We've talked tonight about the comments made by Billy Wagner about their club and some of the guys not being accountable. That's been reinforced by all of the announcers that we've talked to tonight from the New York Mets. They say that Billy Wagner was absolutely right in everything he said.
Gregor Blanco hitting .279. The left fielder has gone 0 for 3. He's also picked up an RBI. There's no question that even though Willie Randolph has apologized and taken back some of his comments about race, the implications of race, and how he feels like he's being treated by the New York press and by their own television network, and Billy Wagner has said, I want to put everything in the rearview mirror and start moving forward. Those are all noble things to say and think, especially if they believe they are right. The 1-1 fastball that will miss and account 2-1 on Blanco, but it does not erase the idea that the Mets seem to be a team with a fractured clubhouse.
Somebody needs to take over, and all fingers point to that guy right there. And from what I've heard, David Wright's a little reluctant to, you know, that leadership role. And you know, I not only think, but Chipper Jones. Chipper was asked to do that earlier. Chipper's done it now. He's done it for the last 3 or 4 years. But after 5 or 6 years in the big, they ask him, you know, to be more of a leader, and he you know, I don't want to do that. I'll do my job, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, it takes a certain type of personality to have that kind of respect. And there's a lot of responsibility. There's a lot of energy that goes into that. That's where, you know, Obi, when I think about the Red Sox again, what Veritek does. That clubhouse, Terry Francona, it could be a mess. It could be an absolute mess. But they're scared to death of Veritek. Nobody gets out of line.
Well, Aaron Andrews, I know that David Wright has said in the past he didn't feel like he was old enough, had enough years in. There were guys with a lot more experience on the team, and that was the reason he was a little reluctant.
And it was interesting in talking to Billy Wagner. He came right out and he said, I feel bad for David Wright. He said, you know, everybody goes to him. Everyone is saying it's time for you to be a leader. It's time for you to step up. And Billy Wagner said that's going to take David and realizing when it's his time, Obey.
Diaz knocking that one through the hole for a base hit. They're going to hold the runner at third, and they're going to be loaded up for Atlanta. So Diaz coming off the bench. He's got himself a single. Nobody out here. And Atlanta trying to add on some more. Make life even tougher for Willie Randolph. 11-4 the Braves. They go back up to the top of the order and Omar Infante.
Here we go. We got more problems right now. Not being in the ball game. Take a look at where this ball is hit. Look at Reyes. That ball, he can get to that ball. If your mind is in the game, he can get to that ball easily. I don't even think he has to dive for that ball. That's one step, a backhand to your left, and you turn it. If your mind is totally into the ball game.
Infante taking one down and in. Whose job is it? If his mind's not in it, if Castillo muffs a play earlier, if Chavez makes an error.
Look at that. You got Billy Wagner on the mound. Yeah. He's going to throw strikes. You're not going to have to worry about ball one or whatever. It's going to be there. But Reyes was not ready to react when that ball was hit, and therefore he didn't get to it. He knew it.
Infield in, that pitch in for a strike. But Sud, whose job is it? Is it a player's job? Is it Willie Randolph's job? A lackluster effort like this one tonight. The Mets have only been charged with one error, but they've made several bad plays. Whose job is it to get after it?
Somebody's got to take over. It can be anybody. It can be a coach. It can be a trainer. I mean, it can be a lot of different people, but somebody has got to take over.
Snyder has room, makes the catch on the warning track behind the plate. Base is still loaded up here with one man out as we go back to John Saunders for SportsCenter in-game update.
Chicago Cubs facing the Houston Astros in a little long ball. This is Derek Lee with a 2-run home run. A little question about this one as well. And then later on, Carlos Lee. This is a 3-run shot to get Houston back on top. 5-3 now is the lead for the Astros.
And the Astros only 2.5 games out of first place. How about the season that Lance Berkman is having?
Well, that's some kind of lineup that the Houston Astros have put together. Tejada, I mean, he's as good as he's ever been right now. All the stuff that went on with him. Lee right in the middle of it. Berkman, that's a heart of an order too. That's every bit as good offensively as this one here.
Kotsay fouls it away. Mark Kotsay is 0 for 5 tonight. He is the only position player in the lineup not to have reached base. Hitting .293.
I mean, that bothers me. That Reyes not being in that play right there. That bothers me a lot.
I can tell.
And if I'm Billy Wagner, and I haven't given up an earned run all year, and in an 11-4 ball game, all of a sudden I say, you know what? I'll pick the bullpen up. I'm going to go out there for an inning. We'll save everybody. Well, that ground ball could have been a double play, and it could have been over with, and you could have saved all of the. What if Santana needs Wagner for an inning and a third tomorrow night, and he's had to throw all these pitches because somebody didn't make a play they were capable of making?
Mark Kotsay with a swing and a miss, and down he goes. Been a tough night for Mark, although a very good night for his teammates.
And that's all he cares about. Mark Kotsay. He's a final score guy.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I think Kotsay's It blows my mind. He's never won a Gold Glove. He's been one of the best outfielders in baseball for quite a long time. Now the bases still filled up, 2 down. Here's Gotay, who came on to run for Chipper Jones when he got drilled in the leg. And the Chipper did hit his 398th home run tonight. Bases all loaded up for the Braves, trying to add on to their 11-4 lead. And there are signs tonight that even though the Mets want to put a lot of their problems behind them, that they are not able to do that. Even if Atlanta had not scored 11 runs tonight on 14 hits, the Braves have made 3 errors, by the way. The Mets only charged with 1 officially, but there's no way Willie Randolph can like the way his team has played the game tonight. Ground ball. That one Reyes will get to. Steadies, throws, and gets him. The side is retired. Atlanta does not score in the inning. And we go on to the 9th. They're at Turner Field. The Braves leading 11-4 over the troubled Mets.
On your wedding day, when everyone is looking at you, you'll be looking at him. So rent your formal wear at M.W. Tux or any men's warehouse, and he'll look almost as good as you do. You're going to like the way he looks. I guarantee it.
Have a structured settlement or annuity? J.G. Wentworth says it's your money. Use it when you need it.
He's right. It's my money and I need it now.
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 If you have a structured settlement and need cash now, call J.G. Wentworth for a free appraisal. There's no obligation.
It's your money. Use it when you need it.
Call 866-454-5990.
On your wedding day, when everyone is looking at you, you'll be looking at him. So rent your formal wear at M.W. Tux or any men's warehouse, and he'll look almost as good as you do. You're going to like the way he looks. I guarantee it.
Daddy, can't wait to get my license, Smeets. Can't believe my baby's driving. Oh, yeah. I'm there.
Got a teen driver? State Farm's Steer Clear program helps them learn safety, and you save cash. Call a State Farm agent today.
Take me out to the ball game. Take me out with the girl. Buy me some peanuts and rice.
Want to lead the singing of Take Me Out to the Ball Game? At the 2008 All-Star Game, enter your video at MLB.com/Baby Ruth for your chance to win.
Coors Light. It's a frost-brewed beer. It starts with cold mountain water. It's brewed down as cold as 34 degrees. It's put in a can cold with a frost brew liner that protects that frost brewed taste. So when you want a cold, refreshing can of beer, grab a beer with a taste as cold as the Rockies. Because refreshment isn't everything. It's the only thing. Frost brewed Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer.
Welcome back to Turner Field, where the Braves are leading the Mets 11-4. In the bottom of the 7th, Chipper Jones left the game after being hit by a pitch. Great news from Atlanta's clubhouse. It is just a right shin bruise, and Chipper is day-to-day. So I know these Braves fans can breathe a sigh of relief, as well as his teammates over there in the dugout.
Although National League pitchers would not consider that great news, the year that Chipper is having, hitting over 400. And a home run tonight.
I can't wait to see Chipper react to Erin after the game when she says great news. Just
a bruise. It'll be with you for about a month.
Chipper's going to want you to grab a bat, stand in the box, Erin, and he's going to throw it at your shin, and then he's going to see
great news.
It is good news. She's right. She's right.
Here's Luis Castillo. He's had a difficult night. At the bat, he is 1 for 3. But when he hesitated on a ground ball with a couple of outs, and M.Teixeira looking like he had just made out number 3 back in the 3rd inning, that opened up the gates for a 3-run inning. The Braves, who were down 1-0 at the time, would go on to take a 3-1 lead, and they have never looked back. It was a huge play early. Castillo hung his head when he went inside that dugout. His head was down. He was angry and upset with himself. One of several Mets tonight who flung his glove while going down the dugout steps. Just been that kind of night, and frankly, that kind of a season for the New York Mets.
You know, it seems like most of the effort for the Mets tonight has been in the dugout. You know, we've seen more passion there than we've seen on some of the particularly defensive plays.
Jose Reyes with a rather lackluster effort on a ground ball a little bit earlier with Wagner on the hill. Let's take a look at that play.
Well, think about it right here. It's a breaking ball. And Billy Wagner's on the mound. If a right-handed hitter hits it, he's going to pull it into the hole. So if you're a shortstop, you got to lean towards third base. Watch what Reyes does. He doesn't do anything. He doesn't get his feet set until the ball is in play. And then all of a sudden his left foot goes out. So now he can't get back to his right to make that play. That's just mentally not being prepared to do your job.
In an 11-4 game as Castillo takes outside for a ball. Chris Resop coming out of the bullpen, the 6'3" right-hander out of Naples, Florida. Formerly with the Angels and with the Marlins.
This guy's got a good arm, boy. He brings it.
The 2-2 to Castillo. He's late fouling that one away. Well, the Braves have had a lot of base runners tonight, a total of 24. 11 of them have scored. They've had 4 big innings offensively. It's a lineup that is going to give a lot of pitchers a lot of trouble swinging the bats the way they are right here in this series in particular.
You know, this bullpen has been outstanding for Bobby Cox as of late. Boyer gave up a couple of runs last night, but that was like the first 2 runs in 20 innings that the bullpen has allowed. And right when the Mets are getting more bad news, the Braves are getting more good news, because John Smoltz might find himself down there in that bullpen. I would guess maybe within a couple of days. He doesn't need a rehab assignment. John Smoltz, I mean, coming in to save a ball games, I mean, it's riding a bicycle. There's nothing to that for him.
Through today in the bullpen at 5:30. A ground ball served to Infante. And Castillo is gone 6-3 as we go back to John Saunders in the studio. John.
And Dave, a little more long ball. White Sox facing the Indians here. This is Jermaine Dye. Reaches down for this one off his shoe tops. That's his 2nd home run of the night. And then the next batter up is Jim Thome. And he's going to add to that 6-2 lead as he sends it to left center field. 7-2 White Sox, top of the 8th inning.
Yeah, make no mistake, they can do that. They can hit home runs. The White Sox have hit more than anybody, and they have a 1.5 lead over Minnesota. We keep waiting for Cleveland to really get going, but it's really the White Sox who are cooking. They've won 6 in a row.
Well, and you talk about Cleveland. I mean, they're on their way to their 5th consecutive loss.
Here's Damian Easley stepping in the 9 slot with 1 out, and the base is empty here in the top half of the 9th inning for the Mets. He shoots that one to right field. On the move, Francoeur. He will make the catch. Francoeur, who only needed a double in his last at bat. And you know, he was thinking about it and thinking about it.
No, he wasn't. He was thinking about that mohawk that Aaron said he's wanting to grow.
He flared a little line drive to second base, and that was the end of thoughts of the cycle tonight.
Tell you what, though, you give Francoeur all the hits, and his average will go up because of it. But his manager, Bobby Cox, deserves a little bit of credit for his success tonight. Frenchie was struggling, having a tough homestand, and the skipper set him down. Ended the 370 consecutive game streak, and comes out and probably getting ready to start another great streak.
Here's Jose Reyes, couple of singles, 2 stolen bases tonight. And what remains of the 30,335 are on hand here tonight at Turner Field, ready to celebrate an Atlanta win, their 3rd straight in the series. After winning both ends of the doubleheader yesterday over the Mets. Raked into right, Francoeur there, and that's the ball game. Fitting that he should haul that in. Willie Randolph's team continues to have its issues, and the Atlanta Braves win this one easily tonight, 11-4.
Well, Jurgens was outstanding. He got the early lead in the 3rd inning. He was terrific. He went through 7 innings with only 1 earned run allowed, and a balanced offensive attack by the Atlanta Braves. They came into play tonight with the 2nd best average in the National League. I tell you what, they're going to do nothing but get better.
And they just don't lose at home. They are now 19-5 here at Turner Field. Next on ESPN is Baseball Tonight, and for more on this one, tune into our post-game extra on ESPN News. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. Along with Rick Sutcliffe, great to have him back, Aaron Andrews, and our entire crew, I'm Dave O'Brien. Good night from Atlanta, and thanks so much for watching. Now it's time for Baseball Tonight.
The brick, yeah. It is, or the brick, yeah, more often. That's a problem, and I just never really overcame it. You beat me fair and square. Golic had a 3-hole lead early. I cut it to 1 at the turn. I felt like I had a lot of momentum. You did. And then I don't remember exactly how you got it back. I think you had 2 holes in 1 on the day. I think one of them was there to retake that advantage, and I was never able to get it back from you. We just kept splitting holes. And I ran out of holes, and you beat me 3-2.
One of the key things in miniature golf, again, we hadn't played on this golf course, so we don't know the lay of the land is, you know how normally when you play, whoever wins the hole in regular golf, they have honors at the next hole.
Right.
Well, in this, if you win the hole, it's better the next hole you go second.
Right.
So you make the other guy go first, and it kind of shows you the lay of the land a little bit. So you had control for a little while when you made that run, and I was getting a little nervous. But once I got it back, I kept it all the way, and that helped, you know, to see where the shots were going to go. And I was happy with my performance. You missed a couple of what almost would have been gimmies. You rolled them by, and that cost you. That got my lead back up, and then we just kind of, you know, split the holes until you ran out of holes.
Hurt me bad.
It did.
And so Golic now takes the 2-1-1 lead as he closed it out left-handed, putting lefty to push a hole. I think it was number 15. No, it was number 16, as that left it 3-2. And so Golic was the winner on the day yesterday. So he's up 2-1-1, and that leaves just penalty kicks.
Right.
We'll go head-to-head on the PKs on Monday, August 18th. So 2 weeks from yesterday, we will do the penalty kicks. If Golic wins, he is the winner of the pentathlon. If I win, and there'll be no tie in the PKs, we'll go as long as it takes. If I win, then the Mike and Mike listeners will choose one last event to decide the winner of the pentathlon.
When's the last time you kicked the soccer ball?
Never. On any significant level?
I can't even fathom.